knock yourself out just getting to your flight. That's why at Alaska Airlines, we figured the least we can do is treat you well once you finally get here.
I'm Jean Anderson. The other day, I got this letter from a mother who said she difficult to ask for help, she said. You just can't know. Your gift could mean Christmas for a child who might not have one. Send a new toy to the Marines Toys for Tots and Teens, and we'll make sure a needy child gets it.
The ancient forest, a network of decaying trees, leaves, and roots, a home for species little seen, and a symphony of life. The ancient forests are about much more than spotted owls. Tonight, see the mysterious world most of us can only imagine. Penny Legate narrates a King 5 special, North Wild, Creatures of the Ancient Forest. Tonight at 6 on King 5. The Sonics move to King 5.
Next on NFL Live.
And Jim Kelly's been hurt as he delivered that last pass. I believe he was hit by his own man.
Your game face, a sure sign that the playoffs are near. We'll experience the dangerous world of the Bears media room. Plus, Bill Bears. And yes, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we will check on Rich Goins up on that billboard in Denver on another scintillating edition. The Chiefs and Oilers each have a share of first.
Bless his heart will be up north, and everybody will relax around there.
So since this evidently will be my last telecast, it's my duty to ask you, unless the TV bug has truly bitten to the extent you indicated yesterday, is there a chance that you might wind up with the Tampa Bay?
I'm looking for work. I'll look right to Tampa Bay.
Have they spoken to you?
No, they haven't. They may at some point in the future, but in the meantime, I have NBC responsibilities and look forward to, hopefully, maybe you know more than I do.
For a while. Is there a little bit of an itch, though?
When I'm in my mid-70s, everybody says, here he comes again.
What sort of situation would you need?
At some point, would like to have enough control of personnel to get things. Don Shula has it. All like that, and that's what it would take, I think, for anybody to finally be successful.
All right, you can evaluate the personnel here today and make the appropriate cuts at the end of the program, depending upon who doesn't perform. Bill and O.J. were at the Meadowlands yesterday for Buffalo's impressive win over the Giants, but it was a performance marred by the injury to quarterback Jim Kelly.
I was pass blocking Leonard Marshall, and Jimmy Richard gave Carl Banks a good shove, and Carl ended up flying right into my knee joint. I reared backwards and fell backwards right into Jim's leg, I guess. I didn't know it at the time, but that's what I heard from some other guys telling me what happened. I didn't know Jim got hurt.
You think you'd be out for a while or anything at all?
No idea.
Can you tell us how it happened?
I don't know.
He sprained a ligament.
and we'll see how quickly it quiets down. We'll reassess it and see where the extent of the time that's going to be needed for his recuperation.
So he could be back.
Oh, yes. Yes, we anticipate him to come back.
The Bills came back to their fans in Buffalo last night, where Kelly's injury hardly tempered the already building enthusiasm for next Sunday's confrontation with the Dolphins. A limo whisked Kelly away from the scene, and it's clear he won't be taking part in the Miami game.
You definitely rule him out of the game next week? Yeah, he's definitely out. Frank will play next week.
How do you use it for the rest of the season? Jim's not going to be there. You got 2 games left.
Next week is the biggest game of our lives, and we're going to treat it that way. We're going to start preparing for it tomorrow. We're going to do whatever is necessary and whatever it takes to win this ball game next week.
All right, now, Juice, you spoke with Kelly and Team Dr. Weiss this morning. Any update?
Well, Dr. Weiss saw Kelly about an hour ago, and he said the good news is it appears as if Jim will not need any major surgery. The injury is to his medial collateral ligament. They're going to hook him up to what they call an MRI machine tomorrow, where they can look at the soft tissues of the knee. But right now, it appears as if they'll need no surgery, and that's good news. Not only this year, but Jim should come back next year as good as new.
All right, now Jim Kelly joins us by telephone from Buffalo. What's your best guess, Jim, as to how many games you'll miss?
Well, hopefully, in my mind, I'll be ready for the first playoff game. You know, you have to wait and see what happens next week, because we do face the Dolphins, and as it looks, it might come down to that game, who will receive the bye and who will be playing in the wild card game. So just keep my fingers crossed that you know, we do win next week with that tough game against Miami, and then you get the bye, and I'll have enough time to rest it and get ready.
So let's clarify this. If you don't get the bye, if you wind up as a wild card and have to play the first week of the playoffs, you think you might not be ready. But with the bye, if you win the division championship, you're almost sure you would
be. My left knee, so we shall see. It's at a point right now where it's sore, it's swollen up, but the doctors say hopefully 3 to 4 weeks, but you never really know until I really get that scan tomorrow.
Jim, assuming you could come back in 3 weeks, what would you have to do between now and then? Are you going to hang around with the team? Are you going to be on the sidelines, or do they want to keep that knee immobile and keep you off your feet?
I don't know. Right now I have to keep my weight off it and keep it elevated. I guess the best thing for me to do is just stay in the team meetings and do what I did last year, and that's make sure Frank Reich does what he's supposed to do. And he filled in very well for us last year. I guess really keep focused and help Frank whenever he needs me.
Jim, thanks very much. We hope we see you back in action soon.
So do I. You all take it easy.
Okay. A man who knows something about knee injuries is NBC's Joe Namath. He joins us live now from the Meadowlands, and I believe he's got a prop to
illustrate these. It was made of a aluminum type material. Now they use beryllium and other materials. It weighs actually about 1 pound or less depending on its size. One thing about these braces I know, they do lessen the severity of injuries. They're not going to eliminate injuries because the joint's going to get twisted and bent just a little bit and tear. But I promise you it lessens the severity of them. And if I had anything to do with it, I'd make it a blanket rule that the NFL players all wear them. I know there's an argument for speed, but it would negate that if everyone wore them and would protect a lot of knees.
Now, you know, Jim Kelly was wearing braces on both knees yesterday, and as you say, they can lessen the chance, but obviously they don't eliminate the possibility of injury, as yesterday proved.
No, but again, it lessens the severity of them. Had Jim Kelly not had this brace on, when he got rolled into, the leg would have given further this way, in this direction. That would have caused further injury, more severe injury. This thing does lessen the severity of it. It helps.
How much does it decrease mobility, Joe?
Only for guys like O.J., defensive backs, the gazelles that run around. They're the fellas that will complain the most. But it only takes a week or two in training camp to get used to them. Only when you're playing poorly will the guys complain. Again, if everybody wears them, it's going to be fair. The speed will have changed for everyone.
And hey, Joe, before you go, congratulations on the birth of your second daughter this week, little Olivia Rose.
Thank you, Bob. Everything is well. We're healthy, and thank God.
Okay, great. Injury struck both starting quarterbacks at the Meadowlands yesterday, as you know. Giants quarterback Phil Simms actually went down twice. The second quarter brought bad news to both sidelines. Just after Kelly's departure, Simms hobbled off after this third down play, but he returned on the Giants' next series. Trainers taped his foot at halftime, but Simms left for good in the third quarter with what was diagnosed as a sprained midfoot.
He sprained his foot. I really don't know how he is at this moment.
Did he ask you to go back in? Or
no, he didn't ask me to go back in.
Okay, Will McDonough joins us now. Will, what's the latest on Sims' condition?
Well, Bill Parcells told the New York press here this morning it's virtually just like Jim Kelly. For the public's concern, it's worse than it was yesterday after the game. Phil will probably be out for a month. He definitely won't play against Phoenix next week, probably won't play the regular season, and at best might come back for the playoffs if they do get that pass on the wild card and got 4 weeks to get him ready.
So Sims' situation much more severe than what we first suspected after the game yesterday.
That's right.
Okay. Obviously, the absence of both Sims and Kelly makes it doubly important for the Bills and for the Giants to avoid playing in the wild card round, which Buffalo could face if they lose the division. And the Giants would have to play in the wild card round if they go to the playoffs with the poorest record of any of the NFC's division winners. Coming up next, we put Bill Walsh back to work as he assesses the strengths and weaknesses of the Raider offense in advance of today's game with Cincinnati. That's next as NFL Live continues for Week 15.
NFL Live is brought to you by your Toyota dealers and their quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By Columbia 300, the world-class leader in bowling technology. And by Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp Shampoo. Helps protect your scalp's natural moisture balance.
Everything's changing. Wasting is out. Saving, conserving, all that stuff's in. Ecology, definitely in. Make the most of what you've got, and you'll be surprised at what you get. We are going to save the world. But until then, I'll settle for saving a little money. It's simple. New values, new car.
Introducing the all-new Toyota Tercel at a great price, $64.88. The one new value you can drive.
Things that you can depend on, things that you can believe in.
Basketball practice at 4 o'clock. I better get going.
Bob's bringing his boss home for dinner. I'd better make something special.
Is it possible? We've had that refrigerator since '84.
Hey, listen to this. Car expenses took 10% of the budget last month.
Yeah, Mom, I finished with my homework.
Yay! You're good at this game.
Finally, a computer so easy to use it guarantees success. The Tandy 1000 RL with 24 built-in home organizing solutions, now on sale. Only at Radio Shack, America's technology store. Nobody compares for Christmas shopping.
They say drink plenty of fluids. Swallowing's total pain.
To stop sore throat pain fast, Advanced Formula Chloraseptic has the power of phenol. It penetrates nerve endings to work on contact, so it gives the fastest relief. And nothing lasts longer. Advanced Formula Chloraseptic works fastest, and nothing lasts longer. For fast relief when you're away from your spray, also try great-tasting Chloraseptic lozenges.
Ann had always loved grape nut cereal. I tried it once or twice.
I said you gotta try it with breakfast for at least a week. Get to know it. That good nutty taste. And well, it's packed with complex carbohydrates. It's a natural energy source. It'll help keep you going.
So I did it. And I do feel great. Now I love it more than she does.
No way.
Breakfast with Post Grape Nuts helps keep you going strong all morning long.
You gotta try it for a week yourself.
Okay, occasionally this season, Bill Walsh has shared his expertise with us in the form of scouting reports. Now, today we're going to focus on the Raiders, a team that's been, to put it mildly, inconsistent this year, but maybe on a roll now. They have won 3 out of 4, and if they win today against Cincinnati, they clinch at least a wild card.
They're getting better every week, but they tend, on occasion, to botch a play. There could be a void in the way they do things. But in particular, Bo Jackson is really getting on track now. And here's a real good example of it against Denver, breaking off tackle, using his speed. But watch number 27, Steve Atwater, an all-pro safety at this point in his career, come up and try to make the stop. Bo just tramples him. And Bo is doing these kinds of things more and more often now.
Great game Monday night against the Lions, and now he leads the league in average yards per carry.
Yeah, he's going to have a great year, and he makes some mistakes. Now, Jay Schrader, who's much improved. You'll see him under the center, and typical play. They see him in command of Kansas City, running through traffic, drops the ball, Bob. Kansas City recovers and goes on to win.
Now, the 2 losses against Kansas City, both in games that were there for the taking. That's the difference right now in the AFC West, with the Chiefs having all the tiebreaker possibilities in their favor. When you say that Bo Jackson makes some mistakes, his skills are obvious. Where are his flaws?
Well, I think it's just playing the game of football and being with the Raiders. I think each week he gets better. But coming in, they really couldn't use him on certain plays, especially the passing game. He had too much to pick up, and it's pretty tough to criticize Bo. Here's a good example defensively. Howie Long, one of the great game players, when I say game players, the big game he's great in. Here he's going to run through 3 defenders. Elway throws a bad pass. Jerry Robinson picks it off. So the Raiders are capable of that big play defensively. They still can do that, probably better than anyone in the league. Now take a look at this. You'll see 2 receivers wide open, the critical drive for Kansas City. A good fake inside, but look at this. You can't get to the championship game with these kinds of botched kind of plays.
And again, it's almost the same thing as on offense. They have the tremendous capability, but then again, the flaws show up. The Raiders, with a tremendous sack capability, with guys like Greg Townsend and Howie Long and the rookie linebacker Aaron Wallace, they're averaging better than 3 sacks a game, one of the highest figures in the league. But they're -5 overall for the season in the giveaway-takeaway column, and usually a playoff team is solidly in the black in that category.
Yeah, so they're just hit or miss. Look at Willie Gault on this play, and also watch Schrader. Now, Schrader's going to throw a beautiful shot down the field, take full advantage of Willie's speed. Willie's going to blow by defenders. The nice trajectory on the ball. Now, that's a picture-perfect play. Willie's smart enough at the end there and alert enough to make that fall into a real touchdown.
When you watch Schrader, that fluid throwing motion, almost like he's just tossing a ball across the room, but it goes 60 yards. Then again, watch this one.
You'll see Schrader drop back, and everything seems quite normal and quite natural, but somehow that ball avoids every Raider up over the top of everyone, right to a waiting Chief who could have made an interception. And these are the kinds of things that keep occurring that I'm sure they lose sleep over, and they're haunted by it.
Now, here's the bottom line that I think you're getting to. The Raiders are a team that you don't want to meet in the playoffs because they're dangerous enough on the right day with the good defense, and if Schrader is hot and a Bo Jackson or a Willie Gault turns in a big play, they're capable of beating anybody. But they're not the kind of team you want to put your money on through 3 or 4 consecutive weeks in a playoff situation.
I'm not sure they can make all 3 games, but in one particular game, they could beat anybody in the league, 49ers or anyone else.
Bill, thanks. Do you even think they could beat the 49ers on the right day?
When you put all this together, I don't think anybody could beat them. But, and yet they could put it together before the year's out. They could get on a roll. But up to this point, there's just been too many botched situations for us to take them that seriously.
All right, Bill. Well, up next, Will McDonough will be back, and he'll have the results of his AFC coaches poll. That and more when we continue in a moment.
Got a painful cold? Gotta get relief? Get Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. It relieves painful cold symptoms some others miss with a decongestant, antihistamine, and a pain reliever you can't find in any other leading cold medicine.
The pain's gone.
Ah, I can breathe.
Everything feels better, better, better.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Relief for your painful cold. And now for sinus and allergy relief, try new Alka-Seltzer Plus sinus allergy medicine.
What do you give a man who has the look, the touch, the smile? Preferred stock from the House of Stetson. The new, the now, the gift. Preferred stock, the extra smooth cologne for an extra special man.
What's that fragrance you're wearing?
Make a statement without saying a word.
I couldn't wait to call in my Toyota story. I play hard in the outdoors, but I need a truck that I can depend on to get me there. My Toyota's got 123,876 miles on it and still plays as hard as I do.
I'm in the delivery business. My Toyota truck has 352,917 miles on it. This is our bread and butter, this truck right here. If it's not running, I don't go to work, and we don't make any money that day.
I love what you do for me, Toyota.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings weren't hung by the chimney with care. There wasn't a chimney. There was no there. No food on the table, no carrots, no crumbs, no meat, bread, or fish, let alone sugar plums. But you can help. Buy Rainier, and you can designate $1 per case to help feed the hungry. Because the only thing worse than an empty stocking is an empty stomach.
All right. right, before we get to Will McDonough, a pause here to note this week's passing of Mike Ditka's season-long effort to control his temper. The end came on Monday, as you may have seen, when Chicago radio reporter Red Motlow made the mistake of asking about the Bears' loss to Washington.
5 turnovers and you don't score, there's something.
So, and Red, hey, time out. And we lost the game.
Well,
so what?
But no.
So what? That's your problem, not my problem. Now, you're the one that's offended by all that.
Couldn't care less, but what's wrong?
What's wrong with the Miami Dolphins who couldn't get out of their own way against them the week before? Yeah, okay. So they got a pretty good defense, Red.
Right, okay.
And they stopped us. What do you talk about how good they played instead about our problems? You're a joke.
Coach, how will you adjust anything offensively against Detroit, considering your...
Nothing. We won't do a thing differently. And you want to get answers to what you need, get them from Red Motlow, expert at everything.
Thanks a lot.
And I always try to appease a jerk.
You're a double one.
Yes, well, sometimes a guy just has to let off a little steam. Red Motlow, by the way, reaping nearly as much publicity out of this as Rich Goins has gotten by climbing up on that billboard in Denver. In any case, some unwanted publicity for Lou Holtz this week. He admits to being involved in at least a couple of violations of NCAA rules while he was the head coach at the University of Minnesota. Notre Dame made it clear that they stand behind him. Holtz tried to clarify the situation, saying he was not intentionally breaking rules and the money that he arranged for players was for humanitarian reasons, not for a competitive advantage. Nonetheless, when something like this happens, especially because there's been talk about Holtz leaving Notre Dame in the past, people say, well, mighty head for the NFL now.
Sure, right away this week, as soon as this stuff come out, they had him going to Tampa and up to the Minnesota Vikings. I called the people in Tampa Bay, and I talked to Hugh Culverhouse Jr. He's the son of the owner. He said, you know, nobody connected with Holtz, or Holtz himself has called us. We have no interest, really, in a college coach. They're going in the direction, if they can, of a pro coach. And I think in Minnesota, I mean, how could you ask him to come back to the Vikings if he did cause problems up there at the university? So I think that's all overdone.
How about the results now of that AFC coaches poll of yours?
Well, Bobby, it's the 3rd year I've done it, and I go out and I talk to the 14 coaches and ask them for their best offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, and the coach of the year. And on offense, let's go to the offense. Jim Kelly of Buffalo, overwhelming choice. And this shows how much the coaches in the conference think about Kelly and what his loss will mean to the Bills. And on defense, Bruce Smith claimed last week he was the best defensive player in the league, and certainly the coaches think he's the best defensive player in the conference. And the coaches poll, let's take a look at that, is the closest I've seen, and it's an indication of how their peers feel about the job these guys have done this year. There have been a lot of good coaching jobs in the AFC this year.
And the winner is?
Well, you had Schuler up there and you had Schottenheimer up there, tied for it, and you also had Shell and Knox right behind him, just a vote. So 4 great coaching jobs.
And nobody was really close to Kelly offensively or to Smith defensively. They were runaway winners.
They were runaway winners. They really were.
We got to run away for a moment. We'll have Will's NFC poll on next Saturday's edition of NFL Live, and we'll take a look now at the Jets, who host Indianapolis at the Meadowlands today, where NBC's Joe Namath will be among the former players honored at halftime. That game is part of the first half of our doubleheader lineup today, and we'll get to it after we close out this edition of NFL Live in a minute.
Shop Radio Shack, America's technology store for all your Christmas gifts. Personal computers for every home and office need.
For the widest selection, nobody compares.
Camcorders, VCRs, and high-performance sound.
For outstanding value, nobody compares.
Telephones, answering machines, radios, tape recorders, and everything in electronic gifts.
For quality products, nobody compares.
Plus toys and games for kids of all ages.
Nobody compares!
For all your Christmas gifts, shop Radio Shack, America's technology store.
This is really weird. I have to shampoo a lot, and every time I do, my hair gets wet, but then my scalp gets dry, tight, and itchy. The more I shampoo, the drier it can get. Now, I can't stop shampooing, but I can use this. Dry scalp shampoo from Head & Shoulders. Made a different way, so it doesn't dry out your scalp like those other guys can. Try Head & Shoulders Dry Scalp Shampoo and help wipe out dry scalp.
Lady Stetson. Independence.
A declaration of independence. Wear it.
Quote. Celica, one of the most eye-catching cars of the year. Auto Magazine. The performance is stunning. Sports Car International.
Unquote. The 1991 Toyota Celica. Enough said.
The lonely vigil continues. Rich Goins, by now a true national celebrity, 2 network shots this week, NBC and ABC, and still on that billboard. We're told that snow is on the way tonight. Rich, we've only got 30 seconds. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Bob. I bet you thought I was John Elway. How you doing?
Why would I think you were John Elway?
I don't know. My mask looks a little like him, doesn't it?
I see. You know, a lot of people have been saying, Rich, will we at least let you down for Christmas? And so we decided we would try and work some sort of hostage exchange. And we took a poll here at NBC. We asked if anybody was willing to go up there on Christmas Day and exchange themselves for you. And inexplicably, the only volunteers we got were John Chancellor and Irving R. Levine.
Bob, you told me on my radio show with Lewis and Floorwives that you would join me on the billboard if I didn't come down by Christmas.
But no, not for Christmas Day. I said sometime in January during the playoffs, I would come up there for one day only, midweek, sometime in the playoffs. That's if they don't win a game for the rest of the season. And quite honestly, all things considered, Rich, I'm getting a little tired of you, so I'm hoping that the Broncos will win today against the Chargers.
Bob, I'm getting a little tired of you, but you better join me. You got to stick to your guns, buddy.
I'll be up there, I promise. Did you receive my care package today, by the way?
Oh, by the way, yeah, thank you very much for the nice basket.
We'll check with you at halftime. Couple of quick notes. Christian Okoye inactive for today's Chiefs-Oilers game. Boomer Esiason still said to be a game-time decision in Los Angeles today. We'll ask Sam Weish about it at halftime. So long, everybody.
Competitors know that it takes power to score. Power in your approach. Power in your equipment. Witness the devastating result of premium urethane charged with a secret additive and explosive high-energy impact for better corner carry. Even arc. More hook. The perfectly matched two-piece ball. The U2 from Columbia 300.
Tuesday, an anchorman covers his own death.
I know it's only a matter of time.
From AIDS, the controversial, critically acclaimed episode. Life Stories on NBC, Tuesday.
I'm Jean Anderson. The other day, I got this letter from a mother who said she couldn't afford Christmas. She wrote, "If it was just myself, Christmas would be another day. But like all moms, I want to see my children's eyes sparkle. It is so difficult to ask for help," she said. "You just can't know." Your gift could mean Christmas for a child who might not have one. Send a new toy to the Marines Toys for Tots and Teens, and we'll make sure a needy child gets it.
The ancient forest, a network of decaying trees, leaves, and roots, a home for species little seen, and a symphony of life. The ancient forests are about much more than spotted owls. Tonight, see the mysterious world most of us can only imagine. Penny Legate narrates a King 5 special, Northwest Wild, Creatures of the Ancient Forest. Tonight at 6 on King 5.
Walter Winchell, first of the great gossips on entertainment tonight.
The Seattle Seahawks have lived on the edge all season long.
8 of their 13 games have been decided within the final 2 minutes, with 2 coming in overtime. Veteran Dave Craig has helped keep the Seahawks in the AFC playoff hunt. Coming up with big plays like this pass to Paul Scansey in Kansas City. And it was place kicker Norm Johnson who nailed down 2 consecutive victories in overtime. In a huge turnaround from recent seasons, the Miami Dolphins have the NFL's 3rd best defensive unit. And with a much improved running game this season, led by second-year man Sammy Smith, they've kept pace with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. But last week, it was the arm of Dan Marino that came through in the clutch as he tossed 2 touchdowns, this one to Tony Martin. In the end, though, the margin of victory was provided by the smallest player on the field, place kicker Pete Stoyanovich. Today, Don Shula and Chuck Knox, 2 of the winningest coaches in the NFL, do battle with the playoffs at stake.
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Seattle Seahawks versus the Miami Dolphins.
This afternoon, we're at Joe Robbie Stadium for a matchup between the AFC East and the AFC West as the Dolphins play host to the Seahawks, a team that's once again on the edge as far as the playoffs are concerned, and ideal weather conditions today in South Florida. Game time temperature at 80 degrees with almost no wind whatsoever. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joel Myers alongside Ahmad Rashad, and welcome to Miami. A critical game for the Seattle Seahawks with a 7-6 record as far as the playoff hunt is concerned. For the Miami Dolphins, though, they have already locked up a playoff spot, Ahmad. The big game for them next week at Buffalo, but still they cannot afford to look past Seattle.
Yeah, since we've been down here in South Florida, that's all that they've been writing about is the big matchup with Buffalo next week. But they cannot look past Seattle. Seattle's a legitimate playoff contender. They've beaten Kansas City twice and Cincinnati. They are trying to go into the playoffs.
On the other hand, the Seattle Seahawks have taken 3 straight, 4 of their last 5. After an 0-3 start, Ahmad, they've got to be considered one of the biggest surprises this year in the AFC.
Well, they really have. You have to forget about the way that they've won their games in the past. The only thing that is legitimate here is that Seattle is legitimate. I mean, they really have a fine football team, and Miami cannot afford to look by them.
A great ground game over the last 2 weeks for the Seattle Seahawks. You'd have to think that's the same philosophy today, Ahmad, to keep Marino and the Dolphin offense off the field.
The teams that have beaten Miami are the teams that have been able to run against them, and that's exactly what Chuck Knox comes in here wanting to do, knowing that the way you stop Marino, the only way to stop Marino, is to keep him off the field.
Chevy's got this truck, S10EL. More mileage than a leading import for less money. I said that's more for less. I told Chevy if you tell everybody about it on television, everybody's going to want to do it. The imports will see it. They'll say, hey, we want to do that too. Chevy will say, nope, can't. More for less. That's ours. Then the government will say, maybe we could give the people more for... Nah, more for less. What a concept. Now it's easy to win with the heartbeat of America.
This year gave him one of the legends of the sea. Old Spice Aftershave Cologne and Gift Packs. Now being shipped in time for the holidays. So give him the clean, classic scent of Old Spice and celebrate goodwill toward men.
Hard to believe, but that was me, Dan Deerdorf, before I lost 40 pounds in 4 months with Ultra Slim Fast. Hey, I'm a big eater, but with Ultra Slim Fast, I never felt hungry. The plan is easy. I had a delicious shake for breakfast, another for lunch, and then a sensible dinner. I'm back to my college playing weight, and I feel terrific. Best of all, I'm not shaped like one of these anymore.
Ultra Slim Fast. Give us a week. We'll take off the weight.
Darling, after 10 years, the only thing I'd change about you is your clothes.
Bugle boy.
Why don't you try this one on first?
Not long ago, one of the first Lumina sedans was bought by a family of 5. They said they liked the gas mileage, all the room it had, and they liked the price. Since then, the Lumina sedan has quickly become the best-selling new car name in America. Apparently, a lot of people are winning with
the heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevrolet.
Now it's easy to win with a heartbeat. It started with a hand, because shape and feel are as significant as lens and shutter. Introducing the Infinity Super Zoom 330 from Olympus, where great pictures and great design go hand in hand.
Tots, the premium choice.
Chevrolet Geo Winter Time, where everyone can win with the most fuel-efficient line of cars and trucks in America.
Sir, what's your favorite color?
Medium Quasar Blue Metallic.
Good guess. You can win with cash back or low financing on any Geo. Tracker, Storm, Prism.
Miss, come here often?
I've never even bought a new car before.
Well, then you can win with a first-time buyer bonus on any Geo.
I love this Metro.
I can tell.
Get to know Geo during wintertime at your Chevy Geo dealer.
A voice from the grave unlocks the clues to a haunting murder mystery, plus the shocking story of a CIA hitman whose cover is blown. An all-new Unsolved Mysteries on NBC Wednesday.
These people are about to become winners during Chevrolet Geo Winter Time. Sir, what is the best-selling line of cars and which trucks are more people switching to? Starts with C.
Chevy.
Brilliant. You can win with cash back or low financing. Miss, who has the most fuel-efficient line of cars and trucks in America?
I know this.
Getting to know you.
Geo. Oh.
Yes, Geo, you can win with a first-time buyer bonus.
I knew that.
You too can be a winner during winter time at your Chevy Geo dealer.
Fathom Cologne. For men of motion, whose emotions run deep. Fathom. For men of motion, whose thoughts run deep. Fathom. For men of motion, whose feelings run deep. Fathom, a fresh, new, thrilling cologne. Fathom for men whose emotions run deep. Fathom, cologne for men.
They say drink plenty of fluids. Swallowing's total pain.
To stop sore throat pain fast, Advanced Formula Chloraseptic has the power of phenol. It penetrates nerve endings to work on contact, so it gives the fastest relief. And nothing lasts longer. Advanced Formula Chloraseptic works fastest, and nothing lasts longer. For fast relief when you're away from your spray, also try great-tasting Chloraseptic lozenges.
The Bengals, the Raiders, Boomer and Bo. Next.
Some people see shaving as something you do for 3 minutes a day. At Braun, we see it as something you do for a lifetime, and we think you should make the best of it. The Braun Shaver, with its 3 shaving positions. Designed for those who choose to make a virtue out of necessity. Braun, the world's #1 selling foil shaver.
Hey! When you're out street hiking, you better know how to read the terrain. Do your best to preserve the wildlife, because street hikers don't just walk, they hike.
Fresh shoes, Joe.
You know, Ace is a place for all kinds of holiday stuff.
Stuff?
From the tree and all the trimmings to the right stuff to put under it.
This Ace Ultra Brute flashlight with alkaline batteries only $366 and a Polaroid high-grade video 3-pack just $888.
When it's time for ho, 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 Ace is the place for me.
Thrill of their lifetime and yours. The NBA on NBC.
No matter where you look, there's Mazda. We're introducing new products like the Miata, setting new sales records, winning the respect of the automotive press, and winning awards for both quality and customer satisfaction. But most important, we're making thousands of people feel just right.
It just feels right. Wild thing. It is a wild thing. Oh, come shout and sing, join in the ring. It could be queen or it could be king. You go your way and I'll go mine. As long as you just make it fine.
Good times roll with the clean, fresh taste of Bud Light. It won't fill you up, never let you down.
Citizen, 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 elegant citizen, citizen, elegance. Oh, his citizen, his citizen. One citizen with lots of citizens. Elegant, elegant, perfectly elegant. Citizen, we've got elegance.
This is how easy it is to collate a mailing on an IBM laser printer. And how easy is it to collate with our major competitor? Probably now isn't the best time to ask. IBM laser printers. Suddenly, nothing else measures up.
What is the image of a rebel? These are the images of a rebel. Canon's revolutionary new autofocus EOS Rebel. So easy to use, you can stop taking snapshots and start taking photographs.
Image is everything.
EOS Rebel from Canon. So advanced, it's simple.
It may have been 30 years ago, or just yesterday, a roadster caught your eye, and you've never been quite the same. The Mazda Miata.
It just feels right.
One day there was just too much gray. I thought, should I or shouldn't I? I didn't. I was afraid it might look phony. I wanted natural-looking color, and I wanted to do it right, with no pouring and mixing. Nobody else could give me what I wanted until Clairol Option Instant for Men. I figured if it's from Clairol, I could trust it. I could. I went from gray to my natural-looking color in 5 easy minutes. My hair looks great, feels great. When I look in the mirror, I don't see gray. I see me.
Do it right with Option, also in gradual formula.
For naming the Mazda MPV best in class, we'd like to thank Car and Driver. For ranking it the most trouble-free minivan, J.D. Power & Associates. For naming it one of the top 10 import buys, Motor Trend. And for making the Mazda MPV the best-selling import minivan, we'd like to thank the Abbotts, the Ackermans, the Adisheks, the Agarus,
Mazda, it just feels right.
the Altons, the Ammermans, the
Only one antiperspirant in the world helps keep you so dry with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. Only one deodorant in the world has so many odor-fighting ingredients with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. There's only one Old Spice.
Thank you very much.
Hickory Farms.
It's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me. My delight is such.
I am deeply touched.
I feel the joy of Christmas has begun for me.
Thanks, Mom.
At Hickory Farms, we have hundreds of delicious gifts for Christmas, all designed with one response in mind.
Thank you very
much.
Hickory Farms, the gift everyone loves to get.
Thank you.
Citizen, 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 elegant citizen, citizen, elegance. Oh, his citizen, one citizen with lots of citizen, elegant, elegant, perfectly elegant citizen. We've got elegance.
NBC Sports kicks off the new year with a Hall of Fame Bowl as Clemson battles Illinois. Then Louisville takes on Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl. And it's a primetime showdown of the Orange Bowl as #1 Colorado battles Notre Dame to decide the national championship. New Year's Day, NBC is the place to be.
The thirst for adventure is Michelob Dry. Refreshing beyond the ordinary. And once you've experienced the bold taste with no aftertaste, there is no going back.
He stirs in the land of dawning. He stirs now in the age of wandering. Now on the trail of beauty, he stirs.
Introducing the new Navajo from Mazda. Motor Trend's 1991 Truck of the Year.
It just feels right.
Some people think it's a great idea for you to buy a second-rate antifreeze. Not all antifreeze is the same. Nothing beats Presto. And that's something you might appreciate down the road.
Citizen, 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 elegant citizen, citizen, elegance. Oh, his citizen, one citizen with lots of citizen, elegant, elegant, perfectly elegant citizen. We've got elegance.
Ho, ho, here we go!
You're dust, baby.
Zombie blitz! How you like me now, baby? Got good life insurance? All 911!
If you live near high-tension power lines and run household appliances, do you stand a greater chance of getting cancer? Is electricity hazardous to your health? We'll find out on the next Today.
He's Tom Flores, general manager of the Seattle Seahawks. In his 29 years in the NFL, he has won 4 Super Bowls. But throughout his career, he has never forgotten his roots.
Giving young people opportunities has always been important to me. That's why I've worked as a United Way volunteer throughout my NFL career, helping young people like these in Seattle's El Centro de la Raza program. I want to give courage, hope, and love to these young, beautiful people, to give them the same chances I had growing up. Here, they receive help so they can stay in school, and counseling so they can mature and make their contributions to a better community and a better world. When you give to the United Way, you're showing that you care about them. So now, they would like to thank you. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gracias, Tom.
Yes, gracias. The United Way. It brings out the best in all of us.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Go back to where it all started. Back for the excitement. What are you looking at, butthead? Back for the adventure.
You're my blood.
Back for the romance.
You can sleep in my room.
I gotta go. Back just for the fun of it. Back to the future.
This is nuts.
Back to the future tonight at 8, 7 Central on NBC.
Generations ago in the Northwest, a very special beer was created. But there was nowhere to drink it. Immediately, our forefathers sprang into action, building softball diamonds, skating rinks, weenie roasting facilities, singles bars. In other words, a civilization of beer drinkers, by beer drinkers, for beer drinkers.
Every day in the Northwest, there is one news story that dominates all others. One event, one issue, one major story that demands special attention and in-depth coverage. It's the top story. And in Western Washington, King 5 News is the one to turn to for all the day's breaking news, complete weather and sports, and the top story. Weekdays at 5 with Gene Anderson and Mike James. King 5 News.
Children's near-death experiences.
Monday on Evening.
Okay, welcome back to NFL Live at halftime. The Bengals are in Los Angeles to face the Raiders in the second half of our NBC doubleheader today, and they may be without Boomer Esiason. We go live now to the Coliseum and join Bengal coach Sam Weish. Sam, what's Boomer's status?
Well, as we're talking right now, I really can't tell you whether he's going to be able to start or play during the course of the game. He's going to work out in the pregame warm-up. We'll see how he feels after he goes back inside. We'll actually watch him throw the ball during the early part of the the re-entry on the field during the national anthem part of the game. But it's a touch-and-go deal. He has not practiced all week. Eric Wilhelm and Todd Philcox split time 50-50 during the course of the practice week. Boomer was out here but did not move very well or very much yesterday on the day before the game practice. We're just going to have to wait and see. Our evaluation of it and our decision will come as to whether we can win with Boomer playing under these circumstances, and will he walk away from this one being able to play next week and the following week against Cleveland.
So, Sam, when you say that Wilhelm and Philcox split the practice time, does that mean that if Esiason doesn't start and Wilhelm does, we still might see Philcox during the course of the game?
Oh, absolutely. Both of these guys, we demanded of all of our quarterbacks, they have to be ready to play every snap all season long. So they've been getting ready all year long. They just haven't had the experience of game snaps. But they have prepared themselves mentally. They're ready to play. In fact, they're both anxious to play. And we think we can win the ball game with those guys at quarterback if we have to.
Sam, your players know that the last two are probably more important than this one. How do you keep them thinking about today's game?
Well, I really don't think competitive guys, competitive professional athletes ever walk into a game saying it's not an important game or winning is not the objective of the game. So that part of it really hadn't entered into us. We've heard the commentary and the talk shows and things that have pointed out the fact that we have to win next week regardless of what happens this week. That's true. But this week's important to us because it's a game that we prepared for and we want to win it.
Sam, OJ here. In preparing to defense the Raiders, how differently do you approach them if Marcus Allen's in the game or if Bo Jackson's in the game?
Well, you really can't approach them any differently. The one thing I think you have to do is you have to approach the running game in layers. You can't go in one flank because if they break through that flank, nobody's going to catch them from behind. Last year, it was Bo Jackson that broke the game open, and we lost the ball game by 20 points, and it was Bo's long runs. We can't let that happen, but as soon as you neglect Marcus Allen, he's going to beat you. So we got our hands full.
Sam, thanks a lot for joining us. Good luck today against the Raiders.
Thank you.
Okay, and of course the game that Sam was referring to next week is a home game for the Bengals against Houston in their division. The Bengals and Raiders are coming up later as the NFL on NBC continues.
Early in the second quarter, the Seattle Seahawks had a 10-3 lead, but then the Dolphins took over first on a touchdown pass to James Pruitt from Dan Marino, and then a couple of one touchdown run, but a long run by Stratford to set it all up. So they took over in the second quarter, and at halftime, the Dolphins on top of the Seahawks by 10. After these messages, be right back to Joe Robbie from your local station.
A little girl's Christmas wish brings a mannequin to life.
Hi.
It makes Dad's dream come true. Oh, yes. But when the spell is over,
Midnight.
can one family's love keep the magic alive?
Till Christmas, we'll never forget.
In her first television movie, Olivia Newton-John is a mom for Christmas on NBC Monday.
Puerto Vallarta, a Mexican fable. Years ago, lovers discovered the soul of a cobblestone village and were charmed by its spell. The soul of Puerto Vallarta. Let it change you into a lover of life. Puerto Vallarta, the love of life is in its soul.
The Sonics move to King 5.
Okay, in the game you folks are watching, Seattle with a winning streak of 3 and Miami with that record of 10-3, trying to stay a game back of Buffalo in the race for the championship in the AFC East in preparation for the game next week against the Bills. And it's Miami 17-10 at the half at Joe Robbie. Juice?
You know, I was thinking that going into the next week's game against Buffalo that Miami would be heavy underdogs now. Now with Kelly hurt, that game should be a lot closer than I anticipated. Obviously, they haven't looked beyond this week. Seattle, I must admit, I agree with Ahmad Rashad. I think Chuck Knox does the best job of getting his team ready. And I think he's done the most, I should say, with the least amount of talent than any coach in the league this year. And he's right now my choice for Coach of the Year.
Well, if I were a Miami fan, I'd be happy today about one thing, Bob. The defense is playing better. You know, they had that great record in the early part of the season, then they gave up a lot of points in the last couple of games. The only touchdown they gave up today so far was set up by the fumble punt, so they're playing much better.
You know, it's possible, in fact likely, that whoever winds up as the wild card between Miami or Buffalo is going to wind up having to play as a wild card, losing some measure of home field advantage, not having that first-round bye. Meanwhile, the champion of the AFC Central could have as many as 7 losses.
That's right. Well, that's one of the unfair things about the system, but what else you're going to do? You put it in place, and you've got to abide by those rules.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the other scores. And one of those teams right now tied for first place in the AFC Central at 7-6 is the Houston Oilers with a 10-0 lead late in the second quarter at Arrowhead. The Chiefs playing without last year's leading rusher Christian Okoye, dislocated right shoulder. Opening drive for the Oilers. After a long completion to Haywood Jeffries brought them close. It's Tony Jones latching onto the 24-yarder from Warren Moon. For Moon, his league-leading 30th touchdown pass of the year. But Steve DeBerg, just moments ago, while we were showing you that highlight, connected for a touchdown pass of his own, and pending the extra point, the Chiefs have moved to within 10-6. And J.J. Burden, we're told, was on the receiving end of the touchdown pass from DeBerg. They haven't kicked the extra point yet, but they're likely to move to within a field goal just before halftime. The Oilers 10 and the Chiefs 6. Pittsburgh has the lead in the third quarter at New Orleans. The score there is 3-0. They've just begun the second half. In the game you're watching, Miami has a 17-10 lead over the Seahawks at halftime. How about this? Tampa Bay, with their record of 5-8, playing their first game under interim head coach Richard Williamson. They were off last week following the firing of Ray Perkins, and with Vinny Testaverde throwing a 49-yard, actually running 49 yards for a touchdown, and later throwing a 25-yard touchdown pass to Mark Carrier, and Steve Christie kicking 3 field goals, all of them from better than 40 yards out, one of them a 50-yarder. It's Tampa Bay 23 and Minnesota nothing. Phoenix playing at Dallas. The Cowboys might win their 4th in a row. If they do, they'll even their record at 7-7. Moments ago, Troy Aikman threw an 8-yard touchdown pass to Michael Irvin. They go to the locker room at halftime up over the Cardinals 20-3. Indianapolis and the Jets. It's New York with the lead in this one, trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. The Jets 14 and Indy 10. They've just started the third quarter. Atlanta has lost 6 straight. Their overall record in Jerry Glanville's inaugural season is 3-10. Cleveland has lost 8 in a row. The last 4 under interim head coach Jim Schaffner. They're 2-11. The Browns have just kicked a field goal to increase their lead at home to 10-3. They're just before halftime. And we'll send things back to the second half of your game right now, and we'll check with you later in the day.
Halftime continues at Joe Robbie Stadium. It's a 17-10 lead for the Miami Dolphins over the Seattle Seahawks. And welcome back once again, Joel Myers, along with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad, at the outset of the telecast, we talked about the basic philosophy of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, they held to that philosophy for the most part in the first drive, holding on to the ball 7.5 minutes, coming up with 3 points. All of a sudden, they got into a shooting match with Marino and Miami.
It's almost inevitable, no matter what happens. And Chuck Knox is worried about this going into the game. He said, we can hold the ball for a long time, but with that guy Marino, they have the ability to come right back and score. Then you get caught up in that sort of a thing, and you try to go back and score, and that's what happened to him. And all of a sudden, Miami got up by 7 points.
Turnovers were a key element of the first half, first 8. Miami turnovers, setting up the only touchdown of the first half of the Seattle Seahawks. Then Chris Warren back on a Seahawk punt. He bobbles the ball as we look back on that, and that set up the first touchdown for the Dolphins.
Almost turnabout is fair play. That's the same way that the Seattle Seahawks got a chance to score when they recovered a fumble and went in for the score. But that was about the end of what Seattle did very well. I mean, I think this is going to be very important how they come out the second half. For any victory, you've got to have half-to-half improvement. And for Seattle, they need a big improvement just to get back into this football game.
The ground game at times very, very effective for the Seattle Seahawks, with Derek Fenner finding big holes. John L. Williams the same late in the first half. You'd have to think that they'd want to go back and see if they could establish that ground game.
Well, time runs out on you at this point. When you're trailing by 7 points and you want to try to run the ball, all of a sudden that clock starts to tick down, and you know Marino, anytime he gets in, has a chance to score right away. I think they got to do what they did at the start of the game and start throwing that ball down the field and try to get back on the scoreboard.
Well, if you thought there'd be any letdown by the Miami Dolphins because they were looking ahead at their big matchup with the Buffalo Bills next Sunday, it is not evident.
No, they've shown that they are a championship caliber football team. Even if they were a little bit slow in getting into this game, they certainly turned it around in a hurry and realized that Seattle is going to give them all that they can handle.
And the Miami ground game showing some spark for the first time in 3 weeks.
Anytime you got Dan Marino, you got to protect against the pass, and when you do that, all of a sudden Sammy Smith is firing off tackle, and not so much Sammy Smith, but also Troy Stratford, who came in and gave him a huge boost off the run.
Well, the ground game has not been there the last 2 weeks for the Miami Dolphins against the Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles. It started to show signs of life, though. In the first half, Sammy Smith coming through a couple of times. Troy Stratford, as Ahmad mentioned, as well, late in the first half.
Seems to me a new car warranty should cover the entire car for many miles. Now take Ford Taurus. Its basic warranty ends at just 12,000 miles. But the basic warranty on the new Cutlass Supreme goes a bit farther. Like from New York to L.A., back to New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., to New York. Plus a trip to Anchorage, Alaska. Cutlass Supreme with its bumper-to-bumper plus warranty. Here's one car that does it all and does it right. Hey, Dad.
This is the new generation of Olds.
Over a lifetime, the average American will be involved in 5 automobile accidents. But accidents don't necessarily mean injuries. A TRW airbag can help protect you in a head-on collision. Used with a seatbelt, an airbag gives you a better chance of walking away. TRW.
Reggie, Lewis, roller coaster jam. Lewis, around the world jam. Reggie, reverse jam.
That's reverse jam.
That's Reggie, Lewis.
Dean Witter believed in priorities.
Know why your clients are saving. Know why they're investing.
Okay, come on, folks.
At some point, it's college. Later on, retirement. But Dean Witter knows that often the highest priorities are all the things that happen in between.
Is there anything else you want?
Just the first dance.
There are many ways to measure success.
We measure success one investor at a time.
Whether I'm racing 200 miles an hour or driving 55, I don't accept compromises. You shouldn't either. Cars should be responsive yet fuel efficient, roomy yet sleek, not to mention affordable.
Well, surprisingly, one car does all that and more. The new Cutlass Supreme.
So take a look at any new Cutlass Supreme and see for yourself.
Here's one car that does it all and does it right.
This is the new generation of Olds.
Tots, the premium choice.
Here's a question. How can you save 12% of your gasoline bill every year? Have a regular tune-up. Let's put our energy into saving it.
Seems to me a new car warranty should cover the entire car for many miles. Now take Ford Taurus. Its basic warranty ends at just 12,000 miles. But the basic warranty on the new Cutlass Supreme goes a bit farther.
Like from New York to L.A., back to New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., to New York. Plus a trip to Anchorage, Alaska.
Cutlass Supreme with its bumper-to-bumper plus warranty. Here's one car that does it all and does it right. Hey, Dad.
This is the new generation of old.
Some men would rather live their lives sheltered in the harbor, and some would rather sail into life with the unmistakable scent of Old Spice. Clean, true, and classic. Old Spice, one of the legends of the sea.
These NFL coaches lost 249 pounds.
I lost 35 pounds in 5 months with Ultra Slim Fast.
I lost 33 pounds and never felt better.
I can't believe I did it.
The Ultra Slim Fast plan is easy. A shake for breakfast, another for lunch, and then a sensible dinner.
I'm down 38 pounds. I lost the most and I feel great. We're big guys with big appetites.
We lost weight.
If we can do it, you can do it.
Ultra Slim Fast. Give us a week. We'll take off the weight.
Hey, I'm a businessman. I want to fly in business class. Who wouldn't want to fly in business class? So why does it seem like there's never a business class flight when I want one? Answer that one, will you?
TWA has nearly 3 times as many domestic flights with business class as all other airlines combined.
Amazing. It's like they read my mind.
TWA's business class. We did it first. We do it better.
My dad knows all about space vehicles. He directed me to the new Oldsmobile Silhouette. Its looks are stellar, and the interior is perfect for the enterprising family. The modular seats pull out easily. There's a place for everything. Compared to other forms of space travel, Silhouette is the logical choice. Right, Dad?
Eminently logical.
This is the new
Silhouette. Travel in space and style.
generation of olds.
What do I know about the holidays?
Lights,
Lights,
camera,
action.
Ever-ready Energizer batteries are only 99 cents after rebate, and the Sharp full-function solar calculator is only $5.88.
Ace is a holiday place for me.
Let me tell you.
Only one antiperspirant in the world helps keep you so dry with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. Only one deodorant in the world has so many odor-fighting ingredients with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. There's only one Old Spice.
Go back to where it all started. Back just for the fun of it.
Back to the future. This is nuts.
Back to the Future tonight at 8, 7 Central on NBC.
Tuesday, an anchorman covers his own death.
I know it's only a matter of time.
From AIDS, the controversial, critically acclaimed episode. Life Stories on NBC, Tuesday.
Gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. That being so stated, on to the job at hand. Please take note. Listen carefully.
To begin,
every one of these executives flew to this important business meeting on a different airline, sampling various meals, beverages, onboard services, and other amenities. Can you find the one executive that flew here on Alaska Airlines?
Plus 65. Divide the whole quantity by...
You know, ever since the new BP stations have come on the scene, big things have been happening. Millions of customers have been pulling in. You see, more and more drivers are discovering that high-octane BP Super Gasoline cleans their entire fuel intake system. So while our new stations have brought everyone in, it's BP Performance that brings everyone back. It sure is nice to be so popular.
BP, on the move.
And so this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, and a new one just begun. A Merry, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
This is Christmas at the Bon Marché.
Children's near-death experiences.
Monday on evening.
Upon its introduction, the first Acura Legend set a new standard for performance sedans. But as impressive as that may have been, it was merely a reflection of things to come. Introducing the new Legend from Acura.
thought about dynamite?
In 1859, Isaac Cook created a Great American champagne to launch the Great American Clipper ships. Today, people are still launching celebrations with Cook's Imperial American Champagne.
Okay, everybody, listen up.
27 million Americans are illiterate. Albert Davis was one of them.
My dear family, for all these years, I have wanted to write about what you mean to me, but I could not write.
Look for this Coors Light display. Learn how you can help. Teach someone to read.
Today, I can read.
Recently, Acura introduced what many have called the greatest sports car the world has ever known. Our latest idea is somewhat bigger, the new Acura Legend.
It happens while you sleep.
A kiss? Not yet, honey.
Millions of bacteria form in your mouth.
A kiss? No.
So you wake up with the worst breath of the day, morning breath.
Oh, honey.
Fight morning breath with Scope. Antiseptic Scope has 2 powerful ingredients that kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
How about that kiss?
Where's my kiss?
Kiss me, you big lug.
Scope, original mint or peppermint. The best thing, first thing in the morning.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. By Scope, the best thing first thing in the morning. By Radio Shack, America's technology store. Nobody compares for Christmas shopping. And by Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
There you see a couple radical dudes.
Roby punting it away. Chris Warren waiting back. He'll take it to the 11-yard line. And across the 25, he's down to the 28. Greg Beatty, one of the first ones down there, a reserve tight end.
Couple of radical dudes looking for a big surf somewhere, enjoying themselves today.
Upon its introduction, the first Acura Legend set a new standard for performance sedans. But as impressive as that may have been, it was merely a reflection of things to come. Introducing the new Legend from Acura.
I was afraid to go to the doctor. I didn't want to hear that I might have an ulcer, but I just couldn't ignore my stomach. You can imagine how relieved I was when my doctor said Mylanta. He told me it wasn't an ulcer. It was indigestion. And indigestion like mine needed a strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
Hey! When you're out street hiking, you better know how to read the terrain. Do your best to preserve the wildlife, because street hikers don't just walk, they hike. Fresh shoes, Joe.
To make wrenching fast and easy, you can either do this, or get this, the Skill Wrench Cordless Power Wrench. It's revolutionary.
Radio Shack sale price compact disc players are showing up everywhere this Christmas. Under Bob's dashboard. This high-powered Optimus CD player fits any car. Under Debbie's pillow. With this portable CD, she can listen to music anywhere. Under our bookshelves, where we can all enjoy this Optimus programmable CD player with remote control.
Put a sale-priced CD player under your tree this Christmas. Only at Radio Shack, America's technology store. Nobody compares for Christmas shopping.
Recently, Acura introduced what many have called the greatest sports car the world has ever known. Our latest idea is somewhat bigger, the new Acura Legend.
When the only thing better than making it to the top is making it to the bottom.
It's the right beer now.
Because you know looking good isn't just for summer.
It's the right beer now.
Because you know winter's the time to turn up the heat. So call for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
It's the right beer now.
Okay, we welcome those of you who watched the game from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. It's a final now, the Dolphins 24 and the Seahawks 17. Many of you will see the Bengals play the Raiders from the Coliseum in Los Angeles in just a few moments here on NBC. The big question, can Boomer Esiason start today for Cincinnati? To find out, we go to Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. Charles?
We do have the answer. The answer is yes, Todd. He is going to start. How long he will last, no one knows.
Well, that's exactly right. Yesterday, he didn't look too good. He was fading back, and it was obvious that he was favoring his leg. Now he's gone out today. He's run a little bit. He's thrown. And Sam Weish told us, yes, indeed, he is going to start.
All right, let's go to Bob Costas. Bob?
All right, so Boomer Esiason will be able to go. O.J. Simpson and Will McDonough here with us. Sam Weish told us at halftime.
Go back to where it all started. Back just for the fun of it.
Back to the future.
This is nuts. Back to the Future tonight at 8, 7 Central on NBC.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Ventrella in Seattle. Well, the Seahawks came close in Miami, but not close enough. Sam and I will be back with the post-game show in a minute.
Attention, advanced photographers. You're witnessing something never possible before. The miracle of microfine grain. For the sharpest detail in color print film, Kodak presents Ektar Film.
It's gonna taste chalky. But the flavor. Sold.
Some people call him the most powerful columnist who ever covered the entertainment beat.
He was the king.
Now get the inside story on the first of the great gossips, Walter Winchell.
He was the man who invented gossip.
He could make or break careers. Today, he's still making news, like at his estate auction, where someone paid 10 grand for an unpublished letter.
He wasn't just a reporter, he made news.
Walter Winchell, the inside stories on the next Entertainment Tonight.
Monday at 7 on King 5. In the next 30 seconds, you will learn the secrets of nature's most unpredictable, misunderstood, most wanted species. Study their unusual mating habits.
Men like to see themselves as the great sexual athlete.
Learn their body language.
He says, oh, you look stressed out. I think you need a massage. It means he wants to sleep with you.
The experts reveal the secrets of the elusive male.
I speak man fluently.
That's evening, Monday at 7:30 on King 5.
I'm Jean Anderson. The other day, I got this letter from a mother who said she couldn't afford Christmas. She wrote, "If it was just myself, Christmas would be another day. But like all moms, I want to see my children's eyes sparkle. It is so difficult to ask for help," she said. "You just can't know." Your gift could mean Christmas for a child who might not have one. Send a new toy to the Marines Toys for Tots and Teens, and we'll make sure a needy child gets it.
The Sonics move to King 5.
Third quarter, Miami ball. Dan Marino fakes inside, rolls out, hits Farrell Edmonds for the touchdown. Miami over the Seahawks 24-17.
This is Tony Ventrella's Seahawks post-game show with Sam Adkins and Lou Gellos. The postgame show is brought to you by Lee Johnson Chevrolet Mazda Geo. And now your hosts, Tony Ventrella and Sam Adkins.
Hi, everybody. We are finished with 14 weeks in this NFL regular season, and the Seahawks are pretty much where they started. 7 up and 7 down. They're all even with 2 weeks to go. They still have a slim chance, Sam, to make the playoffs after today's loss in Miami, 24-17.
Yes, and as Tony's good friend Fred Rogers would say, can you say turnover? That's what the problem was today. Seahawks 4 turnovers, and Miami was able to capitalize. But it was a real frustrating day for offense coordinator John Becker from the standpoint as he wanted to go out. The last 2 ball games, Miami's defense has given up over 200 yards rushing, so they wanted to go out and run the football against Miami and then start passing. Well, they opened the game with a pass, and then the only way that they were moving the football was through the air.
Yeah, that's true. And that fumbled punt by Chris Warren comes to mind as one of the big turnovers in the game. And, of course, the 2 missed field goals by Norm and the things that go wrong you talk about for weeks after the game is over. But they do cause the loss in those cases. In that one case of the fumbled punt, I thought was a major play.
Well, it really was from the standpoint of you look at how the score at the time was 10-3, and you look at Chris Warren fumbles it, they go right back in. Well, Miami had struggled again until that because they were playing catch-up football. Now they have that easy score. They're back in the ball game 10-10, and then they get the big play that gives the offense a lot of momentum, and that's really what I think the play of the game was.
Miami needed the win. They had some momentum going in. Yes, they clinched the spot in the playoffs a week ago, but they got a big game with Buffalo next week. Miami really wants that home field advantage. They have to win next week to get it, but if they had lost today, they'd have been in real bad shape. So the Dolphins had a little bit of momentum and had a reason to win. Let's take a look first here at the AFC West standings and how they shape up after today. The Raiders now have clinched a spot in the playoffs with their victory a few minutes ago. Their record 10-4. Kansas City lost to Houston. They are 9-5 and will still most likely make the playoffs. Seattle even at 7-7. San Diego has apparently now just lost to Denver. Denver breaking an ugly losing streak, getting a win today, and they are 4-10. They're coming here next Sunday. And what I thought was, and the prediction of a lot of people that I talked to this week, was that the Seahawks would go to Miami, upset the Dolphins, and then have trouble with Denver next Sunday at the Kingdome. It's often the case that they have trouble with Denver. Well, now, trouble or no trouble, they've got to beat Denver next week and finish with a win over the Lions to have any prayer of getting into the playoffs. One guy who had a terrific game today, Sam, was Tommy Kane. I'm not sure about his statistics. I know he had over 150 yards catching. A lot of
10
receptions.
catches, 162 yards, and just a great day. He ran a corner route. Miami's pass defense was number 2, I believe, in the NFL, and yet the Seahawks were able to have a lot of success. Dave Craig throwing for 294 yards.
Lou Gellos, as usual, has come up with some stellar post-game interviews. Win or lose, he's able to do that, and he's done it again today. Here's Lou with Tommy Kane.
Well, in a loss, the first thing people are going to look at is the statistics you put up. Was it by design that Dave was going to look to you so often today?
No, he just looked my way a little bit. It wasn't by design. He just trying to find an open man, and we hooked up pretty well, today. And we just came up a little short.
This is a different ball game in the sense that after you guys jumped ahead, then you fell way behind. It was catch-up all day, and yet the plays seemed to work, especially the ones to you.
Yeah, the plays were working. We jumped up with 10-3. And then, they came back, and then we had to play catch-up ball, and we came up a few plays too short.
Did you see something in their defense this week that led this team to believe that it could pull off the kind of offensive attack in the air, especially to you, that you were able to do today?
Well, we know we can pass against them. We knew we had to get open, and Dave was going to find an open man, and that's what we're trying to do all day. And we did a pretty good job.
I don't know what the final statistics were, but I would imagine this is pretty close to your best day as a professional.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's my best day. But you look past it because you came on underneath. We have 2 more games. We have to come up big these last 2 weeks.
Okay, Tommy, thanks for joining us. Tony, Sam, back to you.
Last couple of weeks, Sam. Chuck Knox, the Chuckster.
You're a good buddy.
As we so lovingly call him here on the Insider and the postgame show, the Chuckster had quite a bit to say about those 3 wins the last 3 weeks. Well, actually, I had the same thing to say after all 3 wins. Football players make football plays. So let's go back to Miami. Chuck Knox and Lou Gellos.
What hurts? We moved the ball up and down the field, but we needed to get some touchdowns, which we didn't get.
Bunch of kicking game between the fumble by Warren and the 2 missed field goals. That's the difference.
Well, the field goal kicker missed 2 kicks. The other fumble, they fumbled 1, we fumbled 1. both of them led to touchdowns. We played hard, had a lot of great effort out of a lot of people, but we just came up short.
Well, it was a little bit different than last week's interview. And Chuck is obviously very, very discouraged about today's loss. They would have been 8-6, and going into those last two games with a chance to go 10-6. He's done a good job in recent weeks with a team that started 0-3, went 7-3 up until today with the 24-17 loss. We have other scores around the NFL. Let's take a look right now. Houston Oilers, a big day by Warren Moon, passing for more than 500 yards. We'll show you some highlights later on. In that game, the Oilers over Kansas City 27-10. The Bengals have sunk now to 7-7. The Raiders clinching a spot in the playoffs with a 24-7 win. Was Denver able to win? Was that guy able to get off the billboard in Denver and get off the air finally? Yes, to both. Denver leads 20-10 late in the ball game. 2 minutes to go, I understand. Denver with a 10-point lead over San Diego. Take a look once again at the AFC West standings. We're going to do that. And we will in just a second. Now, you just saw it a minute ago, so those of you with those photographic memories, and there it is appearing on the screen. The Raiders 10-4, Kansas City 9-5, Seattle dipping to 7-7. The Jets have lost 5 in a row. They lost again today. Indianapolis beat them by the score of 29-21. The New York Jets just not able to get on fire this year. The Steelers in a low-scoring game beat the Saints 9-6. The Browns broke a losing streak by beating the Falcons 13-10. Cowboys are 7-7, Sam. I don't know if you noticed that, but they are 7-7 after that miserable season last year. They beat the Cardinals today.
Amazing turnaround for Jimmy Johnson.
Boy, it really is. Buccaneers over the Vikings, 26-13. The Vikings are a roller coaster team if I've ever seen one. Eagles beat the Packers 31-0. The Bears and the Lions in the Sunday night game. And look at this Monday night matchup. 49ers and Rams. 49ers have only one loss. That came against the Rams a couple of weeks ago. Those two teams play tomorrow night. Now, playoff picture, that's Sam's territory. He's the mathematician, he's the accountant, and he is going to do the playoff picture.
A little tough luck for Seattle this week because Pittsburgh and Houston both were victorious. Now it's a matter of Cincinnati falls into that tiebreaker, and it's going to be a real shakeout. We won't even begin to attempt it this week because last week we incorrectly stated that Seattle would not make the playoffs.
Well, we didn't incorrectly state it. I did, and you said they would.
Never mind.
Oh, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I said they wouldn't, and you said they would. I said they would, you said they wouldn't.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I thought you said.
There's an honest guy. Honest guy. Take a look at the NFC playoff picture now. There it is. Oh, San Francisco, 12-1. They are just going to this thing. They've been in this thing all, like the last 8 or 9 weeks, haven't they, Sam?
There's a possibility that 4 teams from the NFC East could be in the playoffs.
Well, that used to be my old conference when I lived and worked back in that part of the country. There it is, NFC playoff picture. We'll take a short break on the post-game show, and we will be right back. Seahawks lose it today, 24-17.
People are saying we're running out of trees. Well, see for yourself. These are Weyerhaeuser seedlings. And in Washington, we hand-planted 15 million of them last year alone. 3 new trees for every 1 harvested. 85% of the seedlings we plant survive, which ensures that even after normal thinning, our harvested forest will be entirely replaced. It's an endless cycle, but that's the idea. Weyerhaeuser, the tree-growing company.
Light up your holidays with savings in the Bon Marche's Home Electronics Center. Save $100 on our lowest price RCA stereo TV, featuring the ease of remote control, on-screen displays, and the enjoyment of MTS stereo sound, all for only $299. Or save $400 on this 120-watt rack system from Magnavox with remote control, digital tuner, and 6-disc CD changer for the incredibly low price of just $599. Home electronics for the holidays, on sale now at the Bon Marché.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings weren't hung by the chimney with care. There wasn't a chimney. There was no there. No food on the table, no carrots, no crumbs, no meat, bread, or fish, let alone sugar plums. But you can help. Buy Rainier, and you can designate $1 per case to help feed the hungry. Because the only thing worse than an empty stocking is an empty stomach.
The Ancient Forest, a network of decaying trees, leaves, and roots, a home for species little seen, and a symphony of life. The ancient forests are about much more than spotted owls. Tonight, see the mysterious world most of us can only imagine. Penny Legate narrates a King 5 special, Northwest Wild, Creatures of the Ancient Forest. Tonight at 6 on King 5.
Miami, Florida, beautiful setting for really baseball or tennis today. A little warm, I would think, for football. Borderline hot. Almost 80 degrees down there today, Sam.
I remember one year we played down there. Sam McCullum, also known as Magic, he just about died in Miami. He dehydrated, had body cramps. His whole body had cramped up. They pulled him off the airplane. We had to delay the flight. They put 4 bags of IV in him, and then we were able to fly back home. Took us about 7 hours to get home.
Holy mackerel. Some warm memories for Sam,
yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I know you wanted to hear that. Yeah, special.
All right, let's take a look at first quarter highlights from Miami, Florida. And yes, almost 80 degrees. Not much wind today, but a beautiful day in Miami, Florida. The first play of the game, Dave Craig to Tommy Kane, who had a big day. 24-yard pickup right there.
Play action passes, always so effective when they expect a run, and surprise, surprise, Seattle throws on first down. Dave, look how much time he has, and then finds Tommy Kane for the first of his 10 catches.
The Dolphins were able to shut down the run, forcing Seattle to pass again. Dave Craig again connects with Tommy Kane. They pick up 12 and another first down. Now it's 2nd and long at the Dolphins 34. Craig looks again to Tommy Kane. He finds him on the sideline. Nice catch, 25 yards to the Dolphin 9.
And Tommy Kane, the Seahawks noticed that there is a lot of room on the outside the way Miami plays their pass defense. So that's what they were attacking all day, that soft area in a cover 2 zone.
Seahawks can't punch it in, so they settle for a field goal. Norm Johnson hits it 25 yards out. 3-0 Seattle.
Norm's 7th in a row.
Dolphins ball, Dan Marino passing to his big tight end Farrell Edmonds, who would be a factor later in this game too. 20 yards and a first down for Miami. Then the Dolphins tied it up. Pete Stoyanovich with a field goal from 32 yards out. It is 3-3 in Miami. A key play for the Seahawks near the end of the quarter, 3rd and long. Dave Craig to Paul Scansey, who makes a fine catch just in bounds, first down.
Great formation by the Seahawks. 3 wide receivers stacked, so you see the Miami Dolphins saying, okay, who am I going to cover when they finally come out of it? But Paul Scansey, great concentration, knowing right where he is on the field, drags both toes and comes down with the ball.
So at the end of the first quarter of play, if you're scoring at home, it was a 3-3 tie at Joe Robbie Stadium this afternoon. Jeff Chadwick later on in the game caught another great catch, touchdown catch. Too little, too late, but nevertheless, it was another touchdown catch for Jeff, and he is standing by with Lou Gellops.
Felt one of the bright spots came at the end when, geez, I don't know how many times you guys were pushing the ball toward the end zone. Then something happened that kept you from getting points. Finally, you were able to come up with a pass, and I think Dave threw it the only place he could have thrown it to allow you to catch it.
Yeah, I'm not even a primary receiver on that one. I'm just sort of running deep, and we're trying to get the ball to Paul Scansey, and Dave got forced out of the pocket, and I got to the back of the end zone. I was like, well, okay, maybe I'll just cut across. The flow of the defense was going one way, and I cut back the other way, and Dave made a nice throw.
Well, you had to get up. You had some springs to get that one.
I used to high jump back in high school and college, so occasionally I can get up.
Now, what about those trips down to that section of the field where you weren't able to put up some points? The things that happened today to this team were the things that we, well, grew used to at the first half of the season, and they seem to have been erased in this little stretch where you were winning some ball games, and now they all resurfaced again.
Well, you hit it right on the head. We just, we were great from 20 to 20, but when, we got inside the 20, that's when you really got to buckle up and get in there and score, and we didn't. We either turned the ball over or we didn't do anything, and then forced Norm to kick it, and that just didn't work out. So the bottom line is scoring points. We had the opportunities, we just didn't do it.
Now, what does this do to the emotions of the team, knowing that you kind of erased all that stuff? We're on a roll, and now, boom, there it is over your shoulder again.
Well, I think you've got to be happy with the way we performed. Nobody quit. Both the offense, defense, and special teams worked hard, real hard, all game long. We never gave up. And I know personally I have a good feeling about this team. I'm proud to be a member of it, and I know that next week we're going to go out against Denver, and we're going to work out and have a good week of practice and go in there and beat them. And then we got the Lions at home also. So, I think under the circumstances, even though we didn't put the points on the board, we played hard, and that's really all you can ask.
Okay, Jeff, thanks for joining us. Tony, Sam, back to you.
Sam, I think it's more frustrating than usual when you can move the ball between the 20s but can't punch it in.
The field just gets so much shorter, but the Seahawks have had a lot of success this year once they get down to the 20s. They've been down prior to today's game 42 times, and they've come away with 27 touchdowns. But today, just as fate would have it with the missed field goals and everything else, as Chuck said, you got to get touchdowns when you get down that close. But it's so frustrating because, you know, you want to get it into the end zone. But I think the key, too, offensively was the fact that their first down execution, they wanted to run the football, and they were always in second and long situations, which really makes it tough on you.
Chuck actually said the actual quote was 6s instead of 3s, right?
That's right.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to paraphrase so they heard something different.
All right, that's a good point. We'll take a break. We'll be right back on the post-game show in a minute.
If money were no object, what would you want in a car?
Guts. Muscle.
Just look beautiful.
You know,
slick.
Sleek. Something a little bit different.
4 doors.
I can't drive.
Luxury.
Style. All the comforts of home.
Everything.
Well, money is an object, which is why we created the all-new Nissan Sentra, recently selected by Road and Track as the best sedan under $10,000. Nissan, it's more than a car. It's an attitude.
Right.
You know, ever since the new BP stations have come on the scene, big things have been happening. Millions of customers have been pulling in. You see, more and more drivers are discovering that high-octane BP Super Gasoline cleans their entire fuel intake system. So while our new stations have brought everyone in, it's BP Performance that brings everyone back. It sure is nice to be so popular.
BP, on the move.
Get home safely with the Stanley 1/3 horsepower garage door opener, now a low $135.99. And surprise your handyman with this Ryobi miter saw, a great buy at $179.99.
The place to go when you need to know every beacon.
There's a brand new event taking place at King 5's Winterfest, and it's filling the air with music. On December 17th, 10 Seattle area choirs and bands will assemble at the Seattle Opera House to perform a concert of holiday music sponsored by McDonald's of Western Washington. Tickets for this holiday concert are available from any of these participating organizations. All the proceeds from the concert will benefit the musical groups. Get your tickets now for the Holiday Music Fest, another part of King 5's Winterfest, a Northwest family tradition.
Guests on the postgame show receive a gift certificate from Alvin Goldfarb Jeweler in downtown Bellevue. His name is your assurance of quality. Or a Master Mechanic power tool assortment courtesy of True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
You know, Sam and I are never really depressed, but we're a little down today. We're a little flat.
Speak for yourself.
Oh,
hey, it's Christmas time. It's time to be happy.
It's a good point, Sam. I was only kidding. There's nothing wrong with us at all. Let's move on. Second quarter highlights. In Miami, 3-3 after the first quarter of play. And let's roll the videotape. There we go. Okay, early in the second quarter, Rick Donnelly gets off a great punt here, Sam. Troy Stratford bobbles the ball. Mel Jenkins flies into cover. And, yeah, at the 2-yard line. Great break for Seattle here. Beautiful. We'll have Mel Jenkins on in just a minute, in fact. And then Derek Fenner punches it in. 10-3 at that point, Seahawks.
Derek Grills pulls to his left, forcing the Miami defense to think it's an outside play, and then Derek Fenner sees that seam on the backside and knifes in for the touchdown.
Later in the quarter, a big play here. John L. right up the middle, 23 yards. Look at this. He had a couple of fine blocks there. I don't know what Tommy Kane was doing at the end of that, but go ahead.
John L. had a big day running for 60 yards, but second leading pass receiver in the NFL, and he only had one catch today for 2 yards.
And as our producer Norm Ohashi says, it's deja vu all over again. Reggie Roby booms this punt. Chris Warren kind of loses it. I don't know if he lost it from the sun or what, but he bobbled it. Stephen Moore recovered deep in Seattle territory. 2 plays later now, Dan Marino is pressured. He scrambles. He fires a bullet. Watch this. To James Pruitt in the end zone. Dolphin touchdown in the big one. That ties the game at 10-10.
Obviously, the play wasn't designed that way. Dan Marino was looking for Jim Jensen coming out of the backfield, but Nesby Glasgow does a great job of taking Jensen away. Marino buys some time and then sees Pruitt going across the back of the end zone, just like Jeff Chadwick did.
After the Seahawks stumble on the next possession, Dan Marino airs it out. But look at the time he has. He hits Tony Martin for 44 yards. It takes it to the Seahawks 23. 2nd and 9 at the 19. They're going to run it here. I just feel it, Sam. Oh, yeah. That's because I've seen the tape. Troy Stratford for 13 yards.
Give yourself some credit, Tone.
Stratford hits the ball again. He takes it in from 6 yards away. The Dolphins take a 17-10 lead.
You got to want it when you get down in the pay dirt area, and Stratford definitely does. He gets hit at the goal line, but just drives his way through 4 Seahawks. Gene Robinson, he just bowls him over and gets the ball across the plane.
17-10 Miami at halftime. 17-10 Miami at halftime. That was deja vu all over again, too.
I thought it was an echo.
I like to repeat myself just in case people at home are tuning in late, as they often do this time of the year, or tuning out early. Yeah. You never know. Could be either one. Let's go to Miami now. Mel Jenkins standing by. Oh, wait a minute. We got the stats first.
Yeah.
That's your
Mel,
territory.
you never look so good.
Look at those first downs, Sam.
Yeah, close ball game statistically, but Miami coming out on top in the scoreboard. But Seahawks, Dave Craig throwing for 294 yards, and Seahawks gave up 3 sacks. And Cortez Kennedy had his 1 sack, his first sack in his NFL career on Dan Marino, 1 sack for 8 yards. But you look at time of possession, and I think that's a telling story for Miami and speaks for their season because of the fact that they are more of a balanced offense and more of a ball control offense, and that helps Dan Marino's passing game as well.
I'm amazed that Sam can sit here with just numbers on the screen and come up with really almost poetry there. That was.
Some people call it something else, but we can't say that on television.
All right, now we're going to go to Miami. Mel Jenkins and Lou Gallows.
Well, among the many big plays in this ball game, one in the first half, and Melvin Jenkins was the guy that was there to cover the ball. Strange ball game that way when you consider both teams had punts that wound up in the other team's hands, and you're in a position on the punt team where you're getting double teamed a lot trying to get downfield, and you were able to get free, and that's what allowed you to be there when the ball came loose. Describe that play for us.
Well, from the past couple of weeks, I've been really getting down on punt team, and so a lot of teams now decide to come out and double me, so I was fortunate enough to beat them. And when I got down, I saw him fair catch it, and as he went to fair catch it, I guess he took a look at me, and the ball slipped right through his hands, and I was fortunate enough to get on the ball.
So you saw him kind of look at you, taking his eyes off the ball.
Yes, I did, because like I said, the last few weeks I've really been, trying to, help out the special team, pick up the tempo, because right now, big plays, that's the part of, you have to make big plays right now in order to try to get in the playoffs, and, it was a big play at that time, and the momentum had changed tremendously, and then we turn around and punt. They punt, and next same thing happened to them, so it was a rough game.
You take away the punt goof up by Chris and the 2 missed extra points or missed field goals by Norm, and suddenly it's a 1-point ball game.
Yes, without a doubt. Anytime you look at, you sit back and say, what if, he had did this, and what if Norm would have made those 2 field goals? Then that would have been a 1-point game. But you can't, always go on what if, because this is a funny game, and, that's the way the ball bounces.
Does this squish all the momentum you guys have been able to build over getting over the hump of Norm missing early in the season, getting over the fact that you had crucial turnovers early in the season, you were riding this crest, and then all of a sudden those same things that were haunting you earlier in the season surfaced all at one time, all at crucial times in this game?
Well, you kind of, don't think about stuff like that, but it seems like, the old man came back and jumped on us again. Norm missed 2, field goals that he's been making in the last couple of weeks, and we dropped, Chris, fumbles a punt back there, but, I don't think that takes the air out of our momentum, because right now, thing about it, we just got to, come together and, regroup and swallow this, and because next week, we got Denver, and, chances for the playoffs, they're still there, how, slim or whatever, but, thing about it, we just have to regroup and go out there and get after Denver next week.
And you'll have to fight those double teams again on punt coverage. Melvin, thanks for joining us. Tony, Sam, back to you.
Later on in the program, after we take this break, Ronnie Lee, who used to be a Miami Dolphin and is now a Seahawk, has some words of inspiration for all Seahawk fans. I have no idea what that could be. Do you, Sam?
That's a great tease, isn't it?
It really is.
I bet no one will turn the TV off now.
Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whether your customers are cross-town or cross-country, one of the best ways to make them feel good about doing business with you is to follow up your sales with a personal call. Try it.
Hello. This is Amy's Pet Shop. Hope you like the pet you bought. Come back soon.
Who is this?
This is Amy's Pet Shop. How you doing, Bird Brain? Come back soon. This is Amy's Bird Brain. Hope you like the shop you bought. How you doing, sweetheart?
The follow-up call on GTE.
Sun comes up, the sun goes down. Life goes on while the world goes round. It's a story that's been running for 1,000 years. Faces change, but not the hopes and fears. They say life goes on, and you can't go back again. But like an old sweet song with strong refrain.
Memories, the show of your lifetime.
Tonight at 6:30 on King 5.
Hi, I'm Ann Wilson of Hart. Nancy Wilson from Hart. Thanks.
The concert is over, but our commitment to the environment continues. The money we've raised will go to work for a clean Puget Sound at the Seattle Aquarium, the Nature Conservancy, the Washington Wildlife and Recreation Coalition, and the Washington Environmental Council. Thanks, Washington, for helping keep Puget Sound live.
You know, auto dealers come and go, but Lee Johnson Chevrolet Mazda Geo has been a family-owned business in Kirkland since 1933. Lee Johnson Sr. used to say that he wanted to walk down the streets of his town and look his friends and neighbors in the eye because he knew he'd treat them squarely. A simple idea that still works with one addition, the lowest price. We know that price is important, so is service. That's why after 6 decades, we're still here. Lee Johnson Chevrolet Mazda Geo in Kirkland.
Sam, this friendly program reminder from our former executive producer, who was executive producer for 1 week, made that playoff faux pas, and we had to
20
fire
minutes I was executive producer.
Yeah, we had to bounce you back to your regular job, proving once again that you're nothing more than a pretty face, Sam. But we appreciate
That's debatable as well.
We appreciate you on this program, nevertheless. I don't know what I started to say, but let's go to NFL highlights. Or not highlights, scores. There we go. Oh, there's our post-game sign, and what a beauty it is. Now, moving on, the Oilers, 27-10 over the Chiefs. We like to give the program artist credit occasionally, so he'll just once in a while flash up something that he's painted, and that was
Subliminal.
That's exactly what that was. The Raiders winning today have made the playoffs with a win over the Bengals 24-7. The Denver Broncos, after losing, I don't know, umpteen weeks in a row, Sam.
How many is that?
I have no idea, but it's under 10. 20-10 was the final over the Chargers today. AFC West standings look like this. The Raiders have made the playoffs. The Chiefs will make the playoffs. The Seahawks might make the playoffs. San Diego and Denver don't have a prayer. The Colts over the Jets. The Jets have lost 5 in a row. The Colts winning 29-21. Steelers over the Saints 9-6. That must have been a yawner to watch, huh? The Browns beat the Falcons 13-10. The Cowboys are 7-7 this year after a miserable 1989 season. They beat the Cards 41-10. Buccaneers beat the Vikings 26-13. The Eagles shut out the Packers 31-0. The Sunday night game, the Bears and the Lions, and the Monday night matchup, the Rams against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, a couple of minutes ago, Sam and I teased, as they say in the world of television, an inspirational comment from Ronnie Lee. Let's go to Miami now for that.
Well, a homecoming of sorts for a number of players on the Seahawks, Ronnie Lee among them. I know the result isn't what you wanted, but how did you feel coming back to Miami?
I felt pretty good. I just wanted to come back and kick some butt, man, and I think we did it, and we just beat ourselves. You know, it's bad that you come down and beat yourself, and I sure didn't see anything where they beat us today. You know, we just made a bunch of mistakes, and that's what happened.
Yeah, this is one of those games where when you guys look at the tape of it tomorrow, you're going to cringe seeing that little things that you did to yourself is what took you out of this one, because Miami really did not dominate this game as many had feared they might.
I knew they wasn't. You know, I knew what kind of team they have and what kind of players they have, and it's all in the heart, you know, and there's a lot of guys they don't have, you know, like with big heart. And I figured that we can come down here and beat these guys, get nasty, and just roll over them. And we did. We was running the ball real good. They was bagging off like we knew they was going to do, but like I say, the when we start making mistakes, when you beat yourself.
Now, what kind of heart does this team have now, the Seahawks? You were riding this crest of last-second wins and really being able to push it, and suddenly the mistakes that had haunted this team at the first half of the season resurfaced at really crucial times today.
Well, it did, but this team got a big heart, you know. And it's a bunch of guys, a lot of guys on this team that come to work business-like, and that's what I enjoy being here, you know, because it's different in Miami. You know, a lot of guys there, they just there, you know, just playing and getting it over with. Here, these guys, they'll fight to the last minute. And I think you've seen that today and last week and week before. You know, they stick in there. But this won't bring the team down. We still got a chance to get in the playoffs. And just have to win the last two and just don't get our heads down, because I know these guys won't. You know, they won't get their head down. They know we still got a clear tunnel.
You know, you had some successful years in Miami, but the emotion that you bring forth in talking about your new team, this team, the Seahawks team, you know, you really have a sensitive feeling about these guys, don't you?
Yeah, when I first signed here, I knew what kind of guys they were. When we was 0-3, you could tell these guys weren't giving up. You can see in their eyes. But if I had been there with the Dolphins, I think it would have been kind of shaky, because then you start hearing things, who's not doing this, who's not doing that. But here, wasn't no finger pointing. Everybody pat you on the tail, hey, let's go, we can do it. And that's how I feel. You know, I like going out there and I give 110% because these guys give 110%. And Coach Knox, when he tells you, hey, let's go, you can see it in his eyes. He don't have to scream at you. He just tell you, let's go, and then that may fire you up right then.
Ronnie Lee, go get him the next 2 games and see what happens. Thanks for joining us. Tony, Sam, back to you.
As it turns out, Ronnie Lee did have some inspirational comments, saying a lot of nice things about his own team, the Seahawks, and what he means is there are a lot of prima donnas in the league, especially on Miami when he was there.
You paraphrase that so
well. I mean, let's face it, I think that's what he was pointing to, but there are none on the Seahawks, and that's nice to hear one player talk about others like that. Because, Sam, let's face it, there was a time when they could have pointed fingers after they were 0-3.
Well, I think the biggest difference is, though, that they were playing pretty good, with the exception of the Chicago game, but they know that when they were 0-3, they had a tremendous possibility of being 2-1. So that's what kept their enthusiasm up. They know that they were a pretty good football team, and then they just continued to fight and take it one game at a time.
Wow. All right. We wrapped up that with really my favorite cliche. Let's move into the third quarter now. You saw the first half highlights. A close game still at this point. Third quarter, Dan Marino to Jim Jensen over the middle. They pick up 15 down to the Dolphin 41-yard line. Marino looking for Jensen again, but Dave Wyman makes the interception and jogs back about 17, well, no, almost 20 yards, really, to the 41.
And Marino Dave Wyman sees him looking for the running back coming out of the backfield and just makes a great break on the football and takes it full in stride, and then watches his knees, because, as you know, his knees have been bothering him, and so he just jumps in the air.
A couple of plays later, Dave to Tommy Kane. First down, big day for Tommy Kane. They're at the 18-yard line. They pick up 21. Seahawks settle for a field goal here. Norm Johnson, but it hits the left upright. No good. He did that a couple of times during pregame practice, and it came back to haunt him in the game. Dolphins get the ball back. Dan Marino to Mark Duper. Good for 14 yards to the Seahawk 36.
You talk about Dan Marino's quick release. Joe Kane never even sees the ball go. Before he has a chance to turn around, Duper has already made the catch.
Now it's 4th and inches from the Seahawk 10. Marino rolling out. This turned out to be the play of the game. A nice one by Farrell Edmonds. He goes in for the score. The Dolphins had a big lead, 24-10.
Nesby Glasgow comes off the corner on a crash. Dave Aarons gets sucked up on the play-action fake and then just leaves Farrell Edmonds wide open.
So at the end of 3 quarters of play, Miami with a 24-10 lead over the Seahawks today. Boy, he was wide open in that play by a couple of yards. That kind of stuff has happened before.
Right. You remember earlier in the year when Tom Kallmeyer got beat on the tight end play where he was wide open just like that against San Diego.
Kind of a homecoming today, Sam, for Cortez Kennedy, who played his college football in Miami and is also from that area. And he, in fact, had his first NFL sack. Cortez standing by with Lou Gallows.
Well, Cortez, a little homecoming here, and you had some big plays in this ball game.
Yeah, but you know, when you don't win the football game, you just like everything just going down into the ground.
Did you come in fired up because you knew you were playing in front of family and friends, kind of get you over the hump here?
No, I try to come in every week fired up. It's just one of the things. I just played pretty good, you know. I'm just ready to play.
There were crucial times in this game, though, where you were able to stuff Miami, help your offense get the ball back?
Yeah, our whole defense did a great job. You know, it just a couple plays, and Joe Nash just made them come inside, and I was just there.
What does this loss do to you guys, having ridden this crest for a while of winning last-second games, staying in the hunt, kind of erasing what had happened in the beginning of the season, and then you kind of took yourself out of it in this game? How do you feel coming into the last two now?
Well, we just got to win. We just got to beat Denver, and we don't have to. We're not going to worry about Detroit. We just got to put a win column when we play Denver.
Okay, Cortez, thanks for joining us. Tony, Sam, back to you.
Going into the fourth quarter of the day, Sam, close enough to catch him for sure. And in fact, a couple of times it appeared as though the offense early in the quarter was moving and looked like we would catch them.
Well, you look at their last 6 drives, and 5 of the last 6 drives, they came up empty. They only got the 1 touchdown. Jeff Chadwick, 3 interceptions, and 2 missed field goals.
Fourth quarter highlights. Let's take a look now. Seahawks start out with the football after we come back and take a break. You see, while I was talking, the producer was also talking, and he's in charge.
Before I found the attorney hotline, I was frequently taken advantage of in personal and business matters. So I called 1-900-776-6666 and talked one-on-one with a live licensed lawyer.
They can help with business, criminal, immigration, personal, and any other matters.
I call whenever I have an important decision to make. It's like having my own personal attorney advisor at my fingertips.
Call 1-900-776-6666 and talk to a licensed attorney. Don't hesitate. Call now.
Are you tired of carrying your golf clubs? Well, this week at Pro Golf Discount, we're featuring 2 of our most popular pull carts on sale. First, we've got the Sterling Scott with wide wheels, 1 piece open and close, and it's on sale for just $39.99. But if you want the Ultra Deluxe Tartan Golf Cart, features scorecard holder, wide wheels, and it's on sale for just $59.99. Remember, if it has to do with golf, we've got it all at discount prices.
This vehicle can take you to places no other vehicle can. To strange worlds and even stranger life forms. It can take you inside a human heartbeat to the innermost mysteries of life itself. It can take you to the silicon landscapes of tomorrow's supercomputers. It can even take you to a world where information travels on highways of light. This incredible vehicle can take you as far as your ability and imagination will allow. But only if you don't bail out. So stay in school. This message was brought to you by the United States Air Force because we know how far a good education can take you.
Well, we started the show, your fourth quarter highlights, and of course we're rudely interrupted by those important commercial spots.
Another fine tease on Tony's part.
It really was. Thank you. Let's head into fourth quarter highlights now. It was still close after the first 3 quarters of play in Miami. Seahawks ball. Craig to Tommy Kane again. We've seen this a lot today. 10 times it happened. They pick up 18. And they do it again. Craig to Tommy Kane. This time for 13 yards down to the 7-yard line.
Soft zone on the part of Miami. Miami's thinking outside now, and the Seahawks come back, and Tommy just runs a curl and finds a soft spot in the zone.
Dave back to throw again. He won't get away with this one, though, because John Offerdahl is there for the sack. And he'll see him later. Then try another field goal. Well, Norm Johnson, 38 yards out, and this one hits the other upright. That's no good. The score remains 24-10. Later in the quarter, Dave Craig passing again, and this time, there's Offerdahl. He picks it off and makes a decent run back. Dolphins football.
Dave Craig, anytime you hesitate throwing the slant route, it's too late. You have to drop it off to the back. You see Dave double clutch, and that allows the linebacker to know where he's going to go with the football and make a break. Dave Craig was looking for Brian Blades, but Andy Heck, great hustle, saving a touchdown.
So Miami goes with their running game. It's been successful this year. Sammy Smith, he doesn't fumble much, but he has the last few weeks. He fumbled here. Eugene Robinson stripped it loose and recovered. Craig looking to throw again for Tommy Kane, but watch the terrific interception by Tim McKyer, an acrobatic catch for the pickoff.
Simple post pattern. The strong safety goes to the flat. You see the James Jones going to the flat. You see the strong safety create a hole, and Dave just leads Tommy Kane a little too much. And McKyer, with great effort, comes up with the interception. And Ron Heller makes the tackle. And Odom doesn't quite like the way that McKyer's tackled, so he goes over there and drills Ron Heller.
Now it's late in the game, 2 minutes to go. Dave Craig looking to pass to get this thing a little bit closer. Jeff Chadwick with a fine catch at the back of the end zone. It's 24-17.
Again, Dave buying time, and as he does so well, he has great field vision, sees Jeff Chadwick going across the back of the end zone against the grain of the defense, and he throws it up where Jeff is the only one that can get it because all of Miami's defensive backs are only 5'8".
24-17, the final. The Dolphins win. The Seahawks lose. They go to 7-7 with Denver and Detroit still left on the scoreboard. You know, Sam, you and I and the fans, we get caught up in these games. Some weeks we're up, some weeks we're down, but the fact remains we're talking about people who play these games, and they are people on the field and very much so off the field. After a slow start, the last few weeks have been pretty gratifying for the Seahawks and their fans. Despite today's loss, Seattle is still in the playoff hunt, but there have been some very gratifying moments for the Seahawks off the field, too. Here's Lou Gellos.
The Seahawks have a little room housing posters, pennants, and other Seahawks memorabilia. When they get that special request, they can honor it. This summer, offensive line coach Kent Stevenson spent a lot of time in that room. On a hunting trip in the off-season, Stevenson met 5-year-old Levi Chatterton in Moses Lake. The two became fast friends. So Stevenson invited the cancer patient to minicamp in May.
Here's where Coach Knox sits. He makes all those decisions on whether we're going to draft Levi or not and have him be a...
Levi got the royal tour. The highlight, joining the players in the weight room.
Hey, we're jacked up. You came out to see us today. I have a real tender spot in my heart for young people that don't have the advantages that I've had or my kids have had, and maybe are fighting through a cancer bout or whatever. And Levi is so tough. I mean, he just won my heart over because he's gone through so much, and he's tough, and he's got a great attitude.
You all right? The Seahawks presented Levi with his own Seahawks jersey, and then last month invited Levi to serve as a co-captain for the coin toss in the Kingdom.
Levi was just so excited, he was trembling, and for a while he thought he was playing. When Jacob Green picked him up and carried him out to the middle of the field for the coin toss, I got a little blurry-eyed. That's, you know, just to see the joy in that kid's heart, and it's something he'll never forget. And if we can add a spark of light to his life, then it's worth it. The future's very bright for Levi, and I think when you're around him a little bit, it perks you up because he's very positive, he's very strong, and he's gone through more than most of us have, and come through in flying colors.
And that's the best thing the Seahawks and all of us could wish for Levi.
See lots of stories like that at this time of the year, but keep in mind Seahawk coaches, players, and lots of people in professional sports do this sort of thing 12 months out of the year. There are a lot of great feelings for people who are sick or less fortunate.
That's the key, is there, Seattle has so many guys who are so involved in the community because of the fact that Seattle is a caring community and these guys want to get involved. We would have captain's blitzes where we'd go to the hospitals this time of year, visit Children's Orthopedic, and go out and see the less fortunate. And but we do it year-round. It's not just at Christmas time.
And the best part about it, Sam, and I know you were involved a lot when you were a player, is that the guys want to do it. They don't do it because some PR guy told them it would be a good thing to do. They do it because they want it. We're going to take a break. We'll come back for the rest of the post-game show in a minute.
As you celebrate the holidays, remember to celebrate the environment, too.
Cut out waste. Shop smart. Take a cloth shopping bag.
And choose gifts without unnecessary packaging.
Create cards and gift wrapping ideas you'd never find in a store.
Save your packages and reuse them.
Make your own gifts. Give your time and talent in a special gift certificate.
Call the Recycle Hotline for more ideas on how to help our environment this season.
Happy holidays.
You have some excellent reasons to take a close look at Safeway's produce department. Starting with our field buyers and growers, only Safeway has a team so strong they can keep prices down and quality up. Fresh, large, red, delicious apples grown right here in Washington are just 38 cents a pound. With quality this high, no wonder your neighbors at Safeway handle our produce with so much care. In fact, if there's one thing we take better care of, it's our customers.
Safeway, we're what a neighbor should be.
Stand by for a special offer from the state of Washington. Attention speeders, have we got a deal for you? Just ignore the speed limit and you'll be stopped by the State Patrol. Imagine your excitement. You'll be late for work. You'll impress your friends, your boss. In fact, everyone will know what kind of driver you really are. What does all this cost? For doing 70 and a 55, you'll pay $66. For doing 75, you'll pay $95. But that's not all you get. With every ticket issued, the price goes up. Plus, you get your very own driving record in the state's computer, where it's easy for your insurance company to find. That makes it possible for your insurance to double, triple, or be canceled altogether. And listen to this. If you get just 4 speeding violations in 12 months, you get to go to driving school. Get 2 more within a year and you lose your license. Just think of it. Speed. It's the quick way to get all these things from the state. Offer available on over 7,000 miles of state highway. No purchase necessary.
This message brought to you by the Washington State Patrol, saving lives since 1921.
National Football League season with 2 weeks of the regular season to go, and then we kick into the playoffs and the Super Bowl with 1 week less in between the NFC, AFC championships and the Super Bowl this year, correct?
That's right. Filled that with the bye week.
Yeah, it's just as well, really. That was too long. 2 weeks was too long to wait for a game that in the past few years has been pretty much of a dog anyway. We hope that it's just a hot matchup this year. All right, let's take a look around the NFL. Arrowhead Stadium in Houston, or rather Houston quarterback Warren Moon at Arrowhead in Kansas City, the greatest passing day in NFL history. Former Washington Husky threw for 527 yards as the Oilers knocked off the Chiefs 27-10. First quarter, Moon gave the Oilers the lead. Here he hits Tony Jones, 24-yard touchdown play, Houston out in front 7-0. Moon's favorite target today, though, was Haywood Jeffries. Jeffries caught 9 passes for 245 yards. 87 of those yards on this play. Moon's 527 yards, the second best in history, his best, of course, just 27 yards shy of Norm Van Brocklin's record set back in 1951. The Oilers win today 27-10. LA Coliseum, the Raiders had no trouble with the Bengals today, 24-7. Bo Jackson has been making highlights every week. Here is this week's entry, an 88-yard run. This is a beauty, not for a touchdown, but it really doesn't matter. It's a beauty anyway. It gets caught from behind by Rod Jones at the half-yard line. The Raiders won it anyway easily, 24-7. Bo Jackson just shy of a touchdown on that play. In Denver, the Broncos finally snapped their losing streak. They beat San Diego 20-10. The big drama in Denver involved this guy, Rich Goins, who said he was going to stay on top of that billboard until the Broncos won again. He had been up there 33 days without a shower. But today was his day. The Broncos grabbed an early lead. They never gave up. John Elway to Michael Young on this touchdown hookup. Denver winning the game 20-10. So Rich Goins will be able to come off the billboard, but he's not coming down till 7:05 Denver time tonight because he's going to be on Bob Costas's nationwide network radio show tonight. So this guy is really just a publicity monger, isn't he? Let's take a look. A couple of teams going nowhere this season. The Colts, as we take first a look at the standings, the Raiders 10-4, Kansas City at 9-5, Seattle slipping to 7-7. A couple teams heading nowhere, the Colts and the Jets. The Jets are heading somewhere down. Colts beat them 29-21. Eric Dickerson, 117 yards, including 2 short touchdown runs. Indianapolis over the Jets, 29-21. The defensive struggle at the Superdome, no touchdowns, 5 field goals, 9-6. Steelers, yes, that was a yawner. In Cleveland, a couple of struggling teams. The Browns over the Falcons 13-10. That snapped an 8-game Cleveland losing streak. Atlanta has now dropped 18 straight on the road. The Dallas Cowboys continue their amazing turnaround. Remember, this team won only 1 game last year. The Cowboys are now 7-7 after today's win over the Cardinals. Rookie running back Emmitt Smith has been a key to their success. He ran for 4 touchdowns today. Cowboys routed the Cardinals 41-10. Dallas has won 4 in a row. They're at the 500 mark finally this year. And here's the upset of the day. The Bucs were 6.5-point underdogs to the Vikings. Tampa Bay won, though, 26-13. Vinny Testaverde has often been criticized for not being mobile enough, but he ran today 105 yards rushing. Look at him. Look at him scamper, Sam. 48 of them on this.
All quarterbacks are great athletes.
Touchdown runs, that's a good point. He also threw for a touchdown, a 25-yarder to Mark Carrier coming up here. The Bucs over the Vikings 26-13. That really hurts Minnesota's playoff hopes. The Seahawks saw it last week. The Eagles, as we watched the end of the touchdown, the Eagles saw it today. Green Bay is really struggling without quarterback Don Majkowski. This afternoon, the Eagles knocked them off 31-0. Tonight's NFL game, Detroit Lions against the Chicago Bears. Chicago favored by a field goal in that one. And the Monday Night Football game, 49ers and the Rams. The Rams so far the only team this season to beat the 49ers. I don't think it matters a heck of a lot. 49ers have been a shoo-in for the playoffs for several weeks. And our final score today, 24-17, Miami over the Seahawks. Next couple of weeks, two NFC teams. And if we have time after this break, we'll talk about, what do you mean if we have time? It's 10 minutes to 5. What am I talking about? We could do the tango and still talk about it. We'll be back after this break to talk about next week's opponent.
4 months ago, when I was living on the streets, I was homeless, wretched, filthy, sick, was frightened. And then I came to the mission, and at the mission I found a safe harbor, a safe place to sleep without having to worry. You know, I found a message of mercy. Without the mission, I would have continued a pattern I began as a young man, a pattern of violence, crime, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and I would have either ended up back in prison or dead. The end of the mission is to rehabilitate people's spirit, the whole human being, physical, spiritual, emotional. That's what the mission's for.
The homeless are not hopeless. Call your local rescue mission.
My mom was afraid to go out of her own house.
Yeah, I got it right here.
That's not going to happen to me. I wouldn't let my kids trash my house, and I'm not going to let the people on the street trash my neighborhood. My broom, it's my weapon. I use it to sweep away the trash. It's not much, but it's my way of sending a message. And they hear me. They hear me.
Sam, did I actually say two NFC teams? Yeah. I meant two NFL teams.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, one AFC
Trouble
and
is
one...
they didn't know what you meant.
One AFC and one NFC. You know, let's break into our regular programming for this announcement. Another story developing in Florida came to light this week. Ray Perkins was fired in Tampa Bay, and there are rumors flying that nearly a half dozen other coaches' jobs may be in jeopardy. In one instance, the name of Seahawks president Tom Flores has come up as a replacement, as a new coach somewhere. The Sports Daily, the National says Philadelphia would love to lure Flores from Seattle to head up to Eagles should Buddy Ryan be fired. Here's what Flores had to say during yesterday morning's practice.
Right now, I'm not that excited about it. I haven't, the juices haven't started flowing. I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. I do miss part of the battle on the field, which I was a part of for so many years, but I'm not actively looking for anything.
Would you respond if someone came actively knocking on your door?
I don't know. I'd be foolish to etch it in stone that I'm not interested or wouldn't be interested, but I'm not actively looking right now. But if somebody came, and I'd have to listen.
2 weeks to go in the, by the way, there'll be more on that, I'm sure, in the next couple of weeks. 2 weeks to go now in the regular season. After two long road trips, the Seahawks' last two regular season games are at home at the Kingdome. Next Sunday, the last place Broncos come to town. A disappointing season for Denver, except today. Head coach Dan Reeves there. Injuries have devastated the defense. In fact, the Broncos have had a difficult time producing big plays. They rank 23rd at stopping the run. John Elway has been erratic this year, stung by second-half interceptions. Still wide receivers, Mark Jackson, Vance Johnson, Ricky Nattiel, they can burn you at any time. And even though running back Bobby Humphrey has been hobbled by a knee injury, he's still gained over 1,000 yards this season. The last time these two teams met, Seattle lost in overtime. Next Sunday, the Seahawks will try to even the score. Keep in mind, as we take a look at the remaining games on the schedule, one against an AFC opponent, as Sam told you a minute ago, and one against an NFC opponent, Denver and then Detroit. Now, Denver won today, 20-10 over San Diego. Still have a little bit of momentum coming in next week.
And the home field advantage, though, goes to Seattle, and fans, come to the game with your ankles taped and be ready to root them on.
Whatever the heck that means. Not taped together. He means tape each one of them. We want to mention the food drive before. Bring some canned food to the game next week. It'll go to Northwest Harvest. Please bring a couple of cans or a whole box of cans to the Sunday game. Now, is that a 5 o'clock? That's a 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, and it will be on the Big Fiver.
That's right. At the Kingdome. Also, our post-game show right after the game next Sunday. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
So long.
Tony Ventrella's Seahawks postgame show has been brought to you by GTE, telecommunications consultants to the Seattle Seahawks. GTE, the power is on. And by Rainier Beer. Around here, it's Rainier.
When I was in college, I lived over a bakery. I could have majored in sourdough bread.
Coming up next with special guest, the wide receiver Tommy Kane, who had 10 catches against the Miami Dolphins. Want to call us? 421 Live right now. We'll try to get you on.
This season, break from the pace, take 5 from the race. You know the one, McDonald's.
It's holiday shopper survival days at McDonald's.
You know the one, McDonald's, for food, folks, and fun.
And now you can get a regular hamburger, small fries, and a small Coke with that extra jingle in your pocket. It's the all-American meal, and it's only $1.49 plus tax. A perfect pickup for the holidays at McDonald's.
Hi, I'm Dana Middleton.
And I'm Cindy Reinhardt.
Cindy, there are a lot of new movies out this time of year.
You betcha.
Yep. Well, before you buy your ticket, you'd better hear what the real sisters have to say. They're two Northwest housewives turned movie critics, and they'll review this season's best and worst at the box office.
I'll be interested in that, and I will review which soap star you'd like to spend Christmas with. Join me and share your holiday soap fantasy.
Northwest Afternoon, tomorrow at 3 on Como TV4.
At 11, some tips to get you ready for cold and snow.
Bruce King's Monday Night with Seattle Seahawks quarterback Dave Craig. Brought to you by your local Northwest Ford dealers and by Seafirst Bank.
Week 15 in the National Football League season, and it's Miami's Joe Robbie Stadium where the Seattle Seahawks face another must-win game. Dave Craig has a Dan Marino-like day against the playoff-bound Miami Dolphins as he directs a series of drives deep into Dolphin territory. But by day's end, a multitude of mistakes, miscalculations, and missed opportunities cost the Seahawks a game they could have won. Oh, Dave Craig, that's one of those could have, would have, you know, maybe we could win it, but I thought you had a good chance to win it. So many mistakes inside the 20-yard line.
We had mistakes and missed opportunities, and that's what really cost us the game. That's been happening to us the last 5 or 6 weeks, and fortunately our defense has been able to hold for us and create some turnovers, and Norm's been able to come on and kick the winning field goal. And finally it's caught up to us where we didn't put it through in the end zone the last, when we're inside the 20-yard line. That's ultimately what hurt us in this game.
But what happens inside the 20? I mean, why can you move it, 60, 80 yards down the field, you get to the 20-yard line, and it's a whole different football game?
Well, there's a lot of things. I mean, the field is closed down. You don't have as much room to run different type of routes. A lot of teams play zone defense against us because they know we like to throw the ball and get it into the end zone. So when they play a zone defense, their corners are a little bit softer. They react to throws a little bit better. But there's still, you have to find ways to get it in there, and whether it's running the football more effectively, being more precise on your pass patterns, on your throwing, whatever it is. We have to be able to get better at that in order to get into the playoffs.
It's really plaguing you right now, though.
Well, it's plaguing us just for this one game. I mean, it definitely hurt us, and but it's something that we can improve on, and we will get better at that.
I think a lot of people felt going into this game that you would be able to run the ball against Miami, and all at once you throw the ball and throw it very well and really ate up an excellent defensive secondary.
Well, that's the funny thing. They were ranked 15th against the rush and 3rd against the pass, and we did just the opposite. We threw a lot better than we ran against them. Maybe that hurt us too a little bit, that we couldn't get our running game going as effectively as we wanted to. I know John L had a good game running the football, but we wanted both Derek and John L to have, close to 100 yards each, and it might have been a different ball game because of that.
Okay, let's go to the highlights. Pick it up right now. First quarter, Miami against Seattle yesterday, Joe Robbie Stadium. You're wearing the home jerseys here. Back to throw over the middle, this time to Tommy Kane. That's a pretty good catch. That's going to be good for about 26 yards.
We tried a play-action pass the first play of the game. We want to go deep to Brian Blades, maybe hit him on a deep pass. And they covered that pretty well. Tommy's the outlet receiver, and he beats his man coming across. And we hit him for, a good gain, over 20 yards.
Now you try to run the ball. 1st and 10, this is the 31, and they played pretty well. They just stuffed the run all day. I think Fenner had 15 yards and 11 carries.
Well, it was obvious that they just came in there to stop the run, and they got a lot of penetration, and Derek couldn't find anywhere to run with the football in that situation right there.
Did it surprise you that you could throw so well?
Well, it didn't surprise that we could throw so well. I think the receivers and myself, we feel we can throw with anybody. And we prove it, against Tim McKyer. Here's Tommy Kane beating him on a route.
And he's wide open.
And he's wide open. He's running good routes and get good protection, and we feel like we can throw the football.
3rd and goal.
This isn't the guy we wanted to throw the football to. John L, just an outlet receiver. We wanted to hit Brian coming across the middle, and if not, hit Paul Scansey, but they just played that zone. And so they got 4 or 5 guys across the board, and you can't find anybody open, so now you're caught in that situation. You got to dump it off.
Norm Johnson kicks the field goal. This time it's good. He's, 19 of 28 this year, almost 70%, despite the fact that he missed a couple late.
Well, he missed a couple late, but the thing about that is I'd rather not put Norm in that situation. I'd rather us put the ball in the end zone, let him kick extra points. Those are a lot easier, and you get more points for scoring a touchdown. And so really, Norm missed his field goal is fine. Everybody knows that. But the other side of that is the offense didn't put the ball in the end zone, so we had to settle for an attempted field goal. And you need to score points against, especially a team like the Miami Dolphins.
Okay, let's go back, pick up the highlights right now. Seattle scores in their first possession. Here comes Miami. Marino at quarterback rolling out. He was 17 of 29 for 250 yards thrown to the tight end. That's a big guy, and helmets flying, everything.
Well, Farrell Edmonds is a good tight end. He's a lanky type receiver, very quick. You don't see Dan Marino doing this very much, rolling out, and he hits the guy. And what that does eventually is bring your safeties up and your linebackers a little tighter, enabling you to throw downfield a little bit more.
I think he had 5 catches for 76 yards in the game. Underneath, I thought for a second that could have been a fumble.
I was hoping that he had control of it, and it was a fumble, but I guess they ruled that he didn't have control.
Yeah,
now, last week against the Packers, of course, he did have control. So, that's just the way things go. I mean, we made a good hit and forced a fumble that really wasn't a fumble.
They kicked the field goal, and it's tied 3-3 after the first quarter. What was your feeling about Miami and playing? I know you guys felt that this was going to be maybe the most important game that you played all year. There were people afterwards saying, well, this was your playoff game. This was the one that you had to win to get there. Was that the feeling?
Well, yeah, actually all of them have been playoff games. In order to stay in the race, that's a playoff type atmosphere. And going down and playing the Miami Dolphins, who are already in the playoffs, we knew that they're a very good football team, but we also knew we could play with them. We played against them in '83 and '84 in these same type of situations, and even after this game, I felt like we could have beat them.
Did you do that many things different offensively in your passing game to be able to get like Tommy Kane open for 10 catches and throw the ball as well as you did?
Well, yeah, we did. We, John Becker and Kenny Meyer and those guys, they structured some things for us.
We had 3 wide receivers out there at one time, all stacked behind one another.
Right, and we stole that from some other teams that we saw. You watch films, and you take some other things other teams did that they were successful against the Dolphins doing. So we did the same type of things, and we were successful at it for a while too.
A couple of crazy punts occurred. Well, punt returns maybe, or lack of punt returns occurred in the second quarter. Let's pick it up right now. Seattle going to kick the ball away. This is Donnelly back to kick, and a big break with the score tied 3-3 at Joe Robbie.
It was a big break because we didn't convert on 3rd down right before this, previous to this play. And then Mel Jenkins is hustling all the way down the field, and Mel makes a great play. I mean, it's hard to be run down the field that hard, expecting to tackle a guy, you see the ball, now you got to recover it, and that's something that Rusty Tillman has his guys practicing. It's a nice high punt by Rick. He fumbles it, and then there's Mel right on the spot, and he recovers it for us.
And you never know when that's going to happen.
You never know, so that's, that's a good play by Mel Jenkins.
Derek Fenner, left side. Good block and a good hole.
Well, the good part about it is we convert a turnover into a touchdown, and we do it real quick, Get the ball to Derek, he finds a hole and runs through some people, and Grant Fields on Brian Millard, that's a good blocks to the point of attack.
Okay, it's 10-3, you lead. A couple of drives later, they're going to kick it away. Roby, a long drive. And
man, he boomed that punt.
Boy, he really did.
The thing was, Chris had to turn his back and then go chase the ball down, and then it bounces up in the air, and he's trying to look to run and catch the ball at the same time to find out where the defenders are as they're coming down there. And you can see he takes his eye off it just for a brief second, and that's what causes the fumble. And now we give them the favor back that they gave to us earlier.
Now, 3rd and goal at the 4. Marino back to throw, rolls out to his right. Watch this. I thought you had it.
That's a great play by Dan Marino because Jacob had excellent pressure on him, and Tony Woods comes in and puts a shot on him right just after he throws the football. But you got to give a lot of credit to Marino on this play. He made something happen, and that's what you have to do at that quarterback position, and able to make big plays, and they make a catch in the end zone and touchdown.
Now, when you look at that guy in the end zone, as Marino did there, it's just a flash, isn't it? Do you see him come across? I mean, why do you know that guy's open?
Well, what happens is what enabled that to be a completion, I think, was the fact that he was able to scramble around. We had man-to-man coverage on people, and Gene Robinson standing back there. Marino's looking one way, and all of a sudden he scrambles. He looks the other way, sees a guy flashing in the back of the end zone, and he throws it to him, and it's a touchdown. And by his ability to move around in the pocket just a little bit, that disoriented our defense a little bit, and they got the touchdown.
And he just zipped the ball, too.
He zipped the ball in there. He can do that.
Let's go to the phones right now. You're on live with Dave Craig. Hello.
Hi, Dave. You played a real good game. I wanted to ask, I noticed Chris Warren has been fumbling quite often, and I wanted to find out what the coaches are doing to address this problem.
Well, they're definitely aware of, when things malfunction like that on occasion. But Chris has been doing a good job overall for us. A lot of it, it's his first year of playing and returning punts in the NFL, which is a lot different in college. In college, he's a great punt returner. But now there's guys that are coming down a lot faster, and guys that punt the ball, punt it a lot further, and there's a lot of things to think about. But I guess the thing they do to address that situation is to have Chris be more conscious of where he is on the field, what the situation is. If it's bouncing like that, maybe let it go. Those type of things. And he's learning, and he's going to get better at it. But there's no doubt he's going to stay back there because he's made some big plays for us on kickoff and punt returns, and we'll stick with Chris. There's no problem there.
Thank you very much for calling. It's very interesting, too, that Miami would say in their game plan, sometimes you don't think about the punting game as being part of their game plan. It's offense, defense, that they're going to try to drive the ball over his head because he plays up just a little bit.
He played up. They said he was at 42 yards. Yes. I don't know how the heck Rick Roby can tell that he's at 42 yards way back there, and he punts at 45 yards, figuring he's going to punt it over his head. But he said that in the paper. Yes. But there's a point to it because Rick Roby is an excellent punter, and he can put the ball deep, and he did do that. And it seemed to work for him, so I guess they can act like they're really smart after the fact that he fumbled. I mean, how'd they know he's going to fumble it, too?
You don't know.
Right.
But it was a good quote in the paper.
It sure was.
Okay, let's pick up the highlights right now. Late in the second quarter, score tied 10-10. Miami on the move. Marino back to throw and throwing deep. This to Martin, and a great catch and a great throw.
It was a great throw and a good catch, but these are the big plays that we have to come up with. Get the ball downfield 30 or 40 yards like this on one play, and they do it. I mean, once in a while you're going to hit a big play like this. They did. They didn't score on the pass play itself, but it gets them down there in position to score.
So now it is first and goal at the 6. They drive it down to there. Stratford up the middle. He carries people with him. Were you a little different formation here, I think, defensively than you wanted to be in?
We were in different personnel.
Yeah.
We don't have any really linebackers per se in there. Plus, it's not really a legitimate play. It's kind of a broken play, but he just does the rest of it because he runs over our defensive backs and he scores a touchdown.
Final play, the first half. You're back to throw. Big rush. You're going to be hit. The ball pops loose. And Ronnie Lee picks up. He could run with the ball, couldn't he?
Yeah, he thought the play was blown dead, so he just kind of stood there for a while, and then they finally threw him down on the ground. But what actually happened here was I'm looking for receivers, and all of a sudden you get sacked, the ball pops out, and Ronnie thought he heard a whistle, so he just picked the ball up. Fortunately, he did and held on to it.
Yes.
And he could have ran. Brian Millard's trying to call timeout, And they're trying to put him on the ground because the officials can't blow the play dead till somebody hits the ground.
And you're walking out there going, wait a minute, what happened?
Let's go in the locker room and start over again. That's what we were thinking.
Okay, 17-10 at halftime. First downs, Miami, as you see. Time of possession, you had the ball by a couple of minutes longer than they did, but turnovers were even. They lead it just because of that touchdown just before the end of the half. But maybe Lee could have run it in, and who knows?
Ronnie said he's thinking about running it in if he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
That's always a possibility.
That's right. We'll be back. We'll have more. We'll take your phone calls right after this.
Wilson, Heinrich, McElhaney, Schlorett, Makita, Six Killer, and Moon. A century of memories are packed into this 1-hour video. At $36.95, which includes shipping and sales tax, it makes for a great Husky gift idea for the holidays. To order, call 206-284-1177. Operators are on duty 24 hours a day. Major credit cards are accepted. Celebrate the centennial 100 years of Husky football.
Today, 6,000 people will go to work at Seafirst in offices all over the Northwest. Some will be in early, many will stay late or work through the night. Others will spend the day in a classroom working on everything from faster service to ideas on how you'll be banking tomorrow. Everyone is working with a single clear purpose: to make it easier to bank with us than any other bank.
On the Challenger South. Test your knowledge and speed against the best.
The Roadrunner. Yeah.
Beep, beep. Dick Clark hosts the only timely and topical game show on television.
Name Britain's new Prime Minister. Major. You got it.
The excitement builds as the winnings grow.
Fascinating. You are absolutely right.
It's the best news and game shows, the Challengers.
Take the challenge tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Hi, Dave. I'd just like to know how difficult it is to play a team that you don't get to play very often and only get to learn from the films, as opposed to another team that you play in the NFL a lot more often.
Well, there is some difficulty in that because we don't play them very often. The things we have to do is look at other teams playing them on film. And a lot of teams, the last 3 games that they played against the Dolphins, they didn't use our shotgun formation. So now you got to go back 3 or 4 more games to find out some teams that use shotgun formation. So in that respect, it makes it more difficult. The other thing is all you can do is look at their basic coverages in their down and distance and what position in the field they play these coverages in, and then go at it from there and take your best guess.
Okay, thank you very much for calling. We'll get back to the phones in just a moment. David, halftime, do you anticipate what that other team may do in the second half? I mean, you make your adjustments and what you think you can do, but is that really based on what you think the other team will do defensively against you, what adjustments they'll make?
Right, that's a good question, because you go in at halftime, you think, well, if you're successful at doing something, you figure, well, they're going to try and stop it. But a lot of times, you know, they don't. They just try to play whatever defense they were playing and try and play it better. They won't change their whole scheme because that would be tough for them to quickly take apart their whole defense. So they just want to try to do whatever they're doing better. The other thing that we try to do at halftime is, okay, what coverages are they playing, and what down and distance? How are they playing you? Are they playing you bump and run inside technique? Are they trailing you a little bit? Those type of things, and you learn that, get that down, so when you go out in the second half, you can try to capitalize on how they're playing you.
Does a receiver ever come up to you at halftime and say, you know, I can beat that guy?
Yeah, you get that a lot. Jeff Chadwick and Paul talk a lot because they've been out there and more experienced type receivers. And then I'll get Brian and Tommy, you know, they've been out there all the time playing during the game. And they'll say certain things, and that's very helpful for a quarterback.
Okay, let's pick up the highlights right now. Third quarter of the ball game. Miami leading it by a score of 17-10. Marino going to have it picked off by Wyman, his first interception.
First NFL interception, and he gets tackled by a quarterback, but that was a big play for us.
Oh, it was.
Stopped them from going way ahead on us, and all Dave does here right now is just read Marino's eyes and steps in front of the running back and tries to get downfield as fast as he can, and Marino gets there and falls down in front of him, and then Dave trips over him, and, you know, that's about what happens.
Now, Wyman with the interception, back to throw now. This is on 3rd and 8. Almost a touchdown. I thought he was bumped, too.
Another missed opportunity. Well, what happened was his right arm, Jeff couldn't get his right arm up. He could get his left hand up, and he tried to one-hand it, which he almost does here. but he just never could get the other hand up and enable him to catch it with two hands.
Norm Johnson now, 34-yard field goal. This is up. It's going to hit the left upright.
I've seen him hit uprights and bounce through.
That's right. So it's
just one of those things. But like I said before, you wish that you would put the ball in the end zone so that all he has to do is kick an extra point. So that's a lot of it is the offense's fault, although Norm's job is to go in there and kick a field goal, and he missed. Nobody feels worse than Norm about it, but that's not what cost us the football game. What cost us the football game was our inability to score touchdowns when the opportunity was presented to us.
Yeah, and you haven't been able to build up that lead. You haven't been able to put a lot of points on the scoreboard.
That's why we've had a lot of close games.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've had opportunities to beat teams by more than 3 points or 7 points. And we haven't done that. And again, here it's finally caught up to us, but we'll improve at that and get better at it.
Okay, let's go back to the highlights right now. Pick them up late in the second quarter. Again, Seahawks miss an opportunity to score. Marino back to throw. This time he's going to be sacked by Cortez Kennedy. He had 9 tackles in the game. He had a great day.
Cortez had a great game, going back home, showing all his people what he could do. And to get to Marino is a pretty tough thing because he's the least sacked quarterback in the NFL.
At the 35, this on 3rd and 8. Big play on this drive.
Well,
Mr. Jensen, it's going to be good for 9 and a first down.
We had good coverage downfield all over, and Dan Marino does, what a good quarterback will do. He'll step up in the pocket, and he can't get his receivers downfield, dump it off to Jensen, much like we do with John L., and he converts it into a first down.
Again, just by a yard.
Just by a yard, right.
Get the first down, keep the drive going. He completes another couple of long passes. Now it's 4th and 1 at the 11. And there is no defense. You're not set up to defend it.
Basically, what we try to do is stop the running play. If they run it, we stop them, and we get the ball. First down going the other way. Here they throw the football, and we have nobody there because it's called a sellout. Cornerbacks, everybody's coming up to stop the run.
Yeah, everybody just is coming, and that's it.
And the other way to play it is, well, you play it safe and save some guys and cover people, but, then you give them the first down. If they do make it, and then you try to go from there.
So
now,
it is a guessing.
Yeah,
it's a guessing game.
Right. That's what it came down to. We tried to gamble on it, and we lost.
Okay, let's go to the phones right now. You're on live with Dave Craig. Hello.
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
This is a big fan from Bremerton, Marty Mollison. I was wondering, there's a lot of talk around the league about Chuck Knox being named Coach of the Year. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think Chuck has done an excellent job. I think I talked about this last week, is how his ability to keep us, even though we started off 0-3, keep us on a even keel and keep us confident that we were a good football team, keep a positive attitude in the locker room, and we came out there against Cincinnati, and we kind of took off from there. So he's done a great job because, we have a lot of young players on this football team, and he's done a good job of having the veterans kind of help these young guys out, but mostly he's done a great job as far as putting a team together that probably a lot of people think doesn't have the personnel that we need, although I disagree with that totally because I think we have great personnel. I think we have, I don't think we're a surprise team by any means because I feel like we have a good football team, and we're going to continue to try to show that these last 2 football games.
Thank you very much for calling. I think a lot of people do turn around and say, well, you're not very inventive, and this team doesn't do, you don't let the kicker throw the ball. I mean, you don't do things like that.
Well, then you could end up like Atlanta. They make a lot of mistakes like that, and now they only win 3 games. So we pretty much play it close to the vest on occasion, but we'll come up with some surprise plays once in a while because they don't expect it out of a Chuck Knox coach football team. And he's done a good job with the way things have gone this season, and I think the players have responded to the way Chuck has coached us.
Okay, one last quick question about this, and we'll get back to the highlights. Do you guys get tired of hearing ground Chuck? I mean, that the old saying, everybody talks about it here.
Well, it's like any other thing. People have their little stereotypes they put on an individual or a team or a coach or anything like that. What that does give you the ultimate thing for surprise. They think, well, they're going to run the football. Yeah. We passed on the very first down last time against Miami yesterday. So it's okay. I mean, we do want to play power football, smash mouth type football, and establish the run. And when we do that, we're very successful.
Okay, let's go back to the highlights. Pick it up right now. Start of the 4th quarter. Seahawks on the move. Trailing it 24-10. Good throw to Kane.
Well, we needed this because I think it was 3rd and 5, and we needed to convert here to try to keep the drive going. And they just play a zone, and Tommy runs down there about 8-10 yards, turns around and looks at me. I throw him the football, and he gets the first down. Now here's another opportunity. Try to throw the fade pattern to Brian, and he catches it, but doesn't get both feet in bounds. And again, he has to one-hand it. And it's just by that margin right there that we lost out on 2 touchdowns.
by just a fraction of a second.
Exactly.
Now, all at once, it's 3rd and goal. You're back to throw, or 2nd and goal, and it all comes through.
Yeah, I kind of make it tough on Ronnie Lee here because I'm trying to throw the ball to John L. in a flat where they cover him.
And he's open.
Yeah, well, he's kind of open, but there's a guy coming up there in the top of your screen you can't see. And then I start to go outside a little bit, and that allows Offerdahl to sack me. It really wasn't Ronnie Lee's fault all that much.
Now, throw it out to John Allen. This is where he hurts, his knee or his ankle? What is it?
He tweaked his ankle a little bit. I start to run, and I notice John L's out to my left, so I figure, well, he can run better than I can, so I try to get it to him, and I don't put enough on it, and he, in his attempt to try to catch the football, he sprains his ankle.
Another field goal attempt. This one will hit the right upright.
That's the way it goes. Like I said, if you don't put your field goal kicker in that position, you score touchdowns. You don't have to worry about that. He can make the extra points, and we keep going over this and over this. But, Norm's supposed to make them. He didn't make them. I mean, hey, we didn't score touchdowns.
No, would you like to be a field goal kicker? I mean, there's a lot of pressure. A guy comes in the game once to win it, or twice to give you some points.
Well, I guess that's the thing.
I mean, you can throw an interception and come back and get 3 other touchdowns.
Right, you get the opportunity to come back. He's like a starting pitcher. You come back every 4 days or something like that. So it makes it tough, but that's his profession. Norm knows that, and he's a good kicker, and he'll be all right. I mean, it's like I said, it's partially our fault, too, for not scoring touchdowns.
You score, and all he's going to do is come in and kick the extra point and forget about the field goal.
Exactly.
It's not going to make any difference.
Exactly.
Let's go back to the highlights. Pick them up right now. Next time the Seahawks have the ball, another drive going for them as Craig is going to throw this time to Kane. It's going to be good for 21 yards in the first down. Well, he was open all day.
Well, he did a good job running routes. What enables this, though, is the protection in the pocket. I get to stand and look around for 3.5 seconds, and Tommy runs a good route on a very good defensive back in the NFL, and Tim McKyer.
Now you're at the 30. It's going to be picked off.
Well,
Offerdahl.
We'd run this play just the drive before and thrown the slant and got it into Brian. Well, John Offerdahl's a pretty smart linebacker. You see the same formation, and he steps right in front of it and makes the interception. That's like I said, you're down 24-10. You're just trying to make some plays, and you put yourself in a situation where you try to force the ball in there, and you really, the smart thing, I guess, would be to throw it away, but you're just trying to get it in there and make something happen. But we get it back.
Still get a big break, yeah.
We get it back again.
Smith running to the outside, ball's going to be knocked loose, you're going to get it back on the next play. Now right here, wait a minute. Maybe you can make something magical happen.
Well, I was thinking the same thing because, here they have a chance maybe to get it down there and get a field goal or something and really put the game out of reach. But our defense just stays in there. Gene Robinson gets his hand in there and strips the ball away and recovers the football. Gives us another chance to go back down there and score.
Now you drive it to the 24, 1st and 10. Going to go deep. It's going to be picked off.
Well, what happened here, I think, was Tommy beat him so bad on in routes previous to this that he played for an inside breaking route, and that's exactly what we had called here. And so he makes a break on the ball before Tommy even does. And again, we hurt ourselves again because of a pass play like this, and they make the play and we don't. And that's what happens. You hurt yourself when you get down there. It's a missed opportunity, and it's very frustrating for the defense as well. They get you the ball, and then you give it back to those guys after a while, and it gets frustrating.
Heller makes the throw, and then your guys want to come over and their guys want to come over and protect him, and an almost little fight.
Well, actually, it helped us. Ron Heller just went and tackled him, and him and Brian Blades got an altercation with one of their guys, and they got penalized for it.
And they get penalized. It drives the ball back deep in their own territory, and they're going to have to get rid of it. Let's go back to the highlights right now. Pick them up this time late in the quarter, late in the ball game. 2 minutes to go. Seahawks with the ball again. Good throw and a great catch in the end zone by Chadwick.
Oh, it was a lot better catch than the throw because I just threw it up in the air just to give Jeff a chance to go up and catch the football. And what happened was his feet came down. One of them maybe was out of bounds, but if he'd had the opportunity, his feet would have came down in bounds.
Now watch his hand. Watch how close it is. You might have gotten one here because his hand's going to come down.
Right. If his hand hits first out of bounds,
that could have been out of bounds. Right. Now the onside kick. They make a great play on it.
I think he caught it before it went 10 yards.
Now watch. It's got to go 10. There's 5.
I mean, he catches at 9 yards. So technically, that's a penalty on them. You have to let the ball go at least 10 yards, and they didn't do that.
Yeah. But you lose at 24-17. Thought for a moment, I know all of you did. She mentioned a moment ago that maybe you could get something to happen right here at the end, but time of possession, they have it. Turnovers 4 for Seattle, as you see, and you lose the football game. But it was a wild game and one that you really had an opportunity to win.
We had many opportunities to win it, and that's really what the game came down to, was our inability to convert on those opportunities, and that's what cost us the football game.
They get a couple more to go.
Yep.
They got to win those two.
Well, we're going to try to.
Okay, we'll be back with our special guest, Tommy Kane, the wide receiver who had 10 catches in the ball game against Miami right after this.
When Ford designed the new Explorer, they started with V6 power, then added four-wheel drive and plenty of cargo space, plus 4 doors and all kinds of room. This Explorer also comes with air conditioning, captain's chairs, AM, FM, you name it. Yet it goes for less than you might think. The new Explorer. It's one 4x4 that really has it all together. Drive it at your local Northwest Ford dealer.
You want to give them all their favorite toys. Make every wish come true. But money is a consideration. At Freddy's Toy World, you can keep your kids happy and keep to your budget. Now is the best time to buy, but you better hurry. Time is ticking down to Christmas Eve. So if you want the season's best prices on the season's best toys, don't wait any longer. Come to Freddy's Toy World, where the kids like the toys, and you'll love the low prices.
Not feeling well?
I'm dying here, I'm dying.
What are the symptoms?
You cry. Run out of breath. You wet your pants?
What could it be?
The measles.
No, you've got feud fever, and help is on the way.
Name something in a doctor's bag.
Stethoscope.
So come on, we've got the cure.
Family Feud! Family Feud! The survey says it's excellent!
When you tune in all this week for Family Feud.
Watch the families duel for dough tomorrow at 4:30.
Guests on Bruce King's Monday Night are chauffeured by Washington Limousine, serving Washington for over 35 years with the largest fleet in the state.
The only chance we get to see the Seahawks play this year, we really want to be proud of you. Go, Dave.
And go Hawks, special.
Welcome back live to Monday Night, and our special guest, Tommy Kane, who had some kind of game against Miami. It's too bad you lost it because you get 10 catches, 162 yards. It was a game that I can imagine that you're going to remember for a long time.
Well, I had a good game, but it's hard to swallow when you lose, and we just got to get prepared for Denver and Detroit and come up with 2 big wins.
Have you ever had a game like this, 10 catches in a football game?
No, I never had 10 catches. I had 7 catches in college. But 10, I hope I can get it next week.
I hope so, too. Yeah. Did you have the feeling as you got into this ball game, because you were open, so open, that you were going to have a big day? I mean, and why were you open all the time?
Well, I knew I was playing against a great cornerback, so I knew my routes would have to be very precise, and Dave's timing will have to be on, and we were successful with that.
When you turn, when you go out and run a route like that, and you turn, is the ball right there? In other words, do you anticipate when you go out like this, cut, that the ball's going to be here?
Well, usually Dave's on target, so when you turn, you got to look quick because the ball usually be right there.
Oh, really? Does he zip it pretty good?
Yeah, he has pretty good zip on it.
Thanks, Tommy. Yeah, no, that's true. Do you enjoy it here in Seattle? It's the 3rd year out of Syracuse. You've been injured the first 2 years, haven't been able to play a full season. How's your knee now? You say it's, what, about 90%?
It's about 90%. You know, this is my 3rd year now. I just had an ACL repair. I'm coming along pretty well. This is my best season. I just hope to have a better season next year.
Okay. I got to ask you about hockey, though, because you were a hockey player out of Montreal when you were young and played with some great players there.
I played with Mario Lemieux. He's one of the greatest that ever played a game. Unfortunately, he's hurt right now. But it was nice. I get to play one game with the best, and, you know, it was a good feeling. I miss hockey. You know, people in Seattle don't follow hockey as much as the Canadians do. And, you know, I miss it pretty much.
Now, you're not the biggest guy in the world, though. And you look at hockey players and you think, you know, they're going to have a lot of beef on them. They're going to, because you bang into people pretty good. You played till what? When you were, what, 15 years old?
Yeah, till I was 15. I started playing when I was 6 years old. So the camera makes you a little bigger in hockey. It makes me look a little bigger, too.
What position did you play?
I played center. I was a centerman.
Yeah. How close did you ever come to going on and playing professional hockey?
Well, I came pretty close, and as I got older, I started playing other sports, and I got into football pretty late. But I decided that wasn't my love. I'm going to go that road, so I decided to play football and ended up in Seattle.
I can imagine, though, you look around every once in a while and say, you know, maybe I could have played that game of hockey.
Well, I miss it. You know, I look back, I see the Montreal Canadiens. That's my dream team. You know, and I look at my uniform, and I'm a Seahawk. So that's reality.
Let's go to the phones right now. You're on live with Tommy Kane and Dave Craig.
Rob calling from Federal Way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'd like to know Tommy, how'd you go about beating the secondary of Miami so bad yesterday?
Well, we prepared pretty well. You know, we had a good game plan in. And, you know, like I said, I was playing against a good cornerback, so I had to run real good sharp routes. And Dave was on target, and, you know, we were successful Sunday.
Okay, thank you very much for calling. Let's go to the phones again. Hi, you're on Live with Tommy Kane and Dave Craig.
Hi, Tommy. This is Kelly from Kirkwood.
Hi.
Hi, we just wanted to tell you congratulations. You had a great game. We are really big fans of yours. And we want to know, now that your knee's doing better, since you just answered one of our questions already, do you think that Chuck's going to have Dave throw the ball to you more often?
Well, I wish, you know, that I can get the ball every down, but there's a lot of good players on our team, so we have to spread the ball around. There's only one football, and it can't go too many places at one time.
Okay, thank you very much for calling. We'll go back to the phones in just a second. You replaced Steve Largent. I mean, that's the position. I think a lot of people forget about that, and they look at Brian Blaze and think he's the replacement. But you're the guy really in a position to replace Steve Largent. Did you think about that?
Yeah, well, I think about it. You know, getting the opportunity to play in a Steve Largent's, you know, spot, the best receiver in the NFL that ever played the game, and you know, that's hard shoes to fill. But there'll probably never be another Steve Largent. I'm just, you know, Tommy Kane trying to become something like Steve Largent, and I'll be very happy with that.
Did you work with Largent quite a bit before he retired?
Oh, there's no doubt. You get to learn the little things about Steve Largent, you know, reading defenses and running precise routes, and that's what he was great at. And, you know, me and Brian, you know, learned a lot from Steve. Fortunately, he's gone, but now we have the tapes to watch.
Yeah. Well, you see, reading the defenses. Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, recognizing the zones from the man. Like Dave was talking about cover 2 and cover 22. Yeah, that's, you know, they're following you from behind, and you have to, if you can feel that, it's easier to get open, and that's what Steve was great at. So they call him Great Steve Largent.
When he calls an audible, is it difficult to hear that? I mean, you get the crowd cheering. And
it depends where you're playing. So, you know, some stadiums are louder than others, and in Miami it was pretty loud. But I try and read his lips, and he does a great job of shouting. And sometimes we pick it up.
Okay. Some great plays we're showing you right here. You had some kind of day. You put all 10 of them together, and this show can go on and on and on and on. That's a great catch. It really is. Let's go back to the phones right now. You're on Live with Tommy Kane and Dave Craig. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Kane.
Same to you.
I'd like to ask you if this was your, Mr. King probably stole my thunder. Is this your biggest game in terms of quality of opponent and catches?
Oh, this is my biggest game, you know, as a pro. I just wanted to test myself coming in playing against, you know, one of the greatest cornerbacks, and you know, I just wanted to come out with a big performance, and I was successful with that.
Thank you very much for calling. Let's go back to the phones again. Hello, you're on Live.
Hi, Tommy.
Hi.
Hi, this is Marty Mollison from Bremerton. What's your secret on staying healthy? I know guys are taking shots at you left and right, and it's tough going over the middle all the time. Do you have anything you do that's special?
Well, there's no secret. You know, I just always tell Dave a secret in the huddle: keep the ball low. That's the best thing, the best way to stay healthy. And you can never know when you're going to get injured, but yet when you get injured, you have to just bounce back.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling, all of you. We'll get back. We'll keep Tommy with us and take some more phone calls right after this.
Violence, drugs, teaching's tough here. There's tension.
So for stress, headache, pain, I take Anacin.
It's strong.
Over 70% of all headaches are tension headaches. Anacin or aspirin-free Anacin 3. Pain relief for today's tension headache.
Well, did the doctor say you'd need surgery?
No, he said my hemorrhoids aren't that serious. And to use Preparation H.
You can often relieve pain and itch for hours and help shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissues with Preparation H in ointment and suppositories.
Here's something a little different from Skipper's. Know where it comes from? Well, true, but try to think of someplace a little hotter. You got it. It's Skipper's new oven-baked fish dinner, and it comes with coleslaw and a baked potato for just $3.99. So to eat a dinner this delicious, what more could you possibly need? Skipper's new oven-baked fish. Now that's different.
Como TV4 and Universal Studios want to send you to the Rose Bowl. you could win a trip for 4 to Universal Studios Hollywood, home of King Kong, Jaws, and Earthquake. You'll fly on U.S. Air, the official airlines of Universal Studios Hollywood, and win 4 tickets to the Rose Bowl. To learn how you can enter to win, just watch Bruce King's Monday Night. That's Monday night at 10, right here on Como TV4.
From the smallest Seafirst bank to the biggest, from the oldest to the newest, from the people with the most experience to the youngest trainee, there's a common commitment at Seafirst. Whether it's expressed by staying open longer or guaranteeing you won't have to wait more than 5 minutes for service, we'll make it easy for you every time you walk in, drive in, phone in, or write a Seafirst check.
We welcome you back to Monday Night. We'll get back to Tommy Kane and Dave Craig in just a moment. But first, let's look at the other teams in the AFC West and what happened over the weekend. What?
People are going to really start thinking I'm a sniveling wimp, but I'm not. I just want to go home and sleep in my own bed.
Goins vowed to stay atop a Denver billboard until the Broncos won a game. He'd been there 5 weeks, and it looked like it would be 6 the way things started against the Chargers yesterday, as Marion Butts powers through the Denver defense. But the Chargers couldn't get the ball across the goal line, at least while they had possession. Derek Walker fumbled the ball into the end zone. Randy Robbins recovers for the Broncos. The Chargers couldn't get a handle on John Elway either. Elway was at his ever-dangerous best yesterday, scrambling for the first down here and throwing to Michael Young for one of his 2 touchdowns on this play. Former Husky Lilo Lang helped preserve the win by intercepting Billy Joe Tolliver at the goal line, as the Broncos break a 6-game losing streak by beating San Diego 20-10. And Rich Goins gets to go home.
It was a big play for me, but, you know, more than just for me, it was a big play for our defense. It helped us achieve a victory and get that man off that billboard.
The Raiders were trying to clinch a playoff spot against Cincinnati, and it was a day for Heisman Trophy winners to shine in Los Angeles. Tim Brown caught a pair of touchdown passes from Jay Schrader, and Bo Jackson turned in another run for the highlight film. The Raiders clinched a playoff spot by beating the Bengals 24-7. Just one more thing. After 88 yards, Bo got caught on the 2.
That was about 140 yards. I specialized in from 100 down, and that was a little bit over 100 there. Bear just jumped on my back, and I couldn't see the guy. I just saw a shadow down on the ground.
Everything the Chiefs saw yesterday was traveling through the air off the arm of Houston quarterback Warren Moon. The former Husky piled up 527 yards passing, the second highest total in National Football League history.
Anytime you play a guy like Warren Moon, you can expect anything. You know, we expected those guys to catch some balls, but not like they did.
I put myself in losing situations at times, and I got burned. I got burned for that.
And to add injury to insult, Steve DeBerg suffered a broken finger on his left hand and may miss next week's game with the Chargers. The Oilers delay Kansas City's playoff invitation with a painful 27-10 win over the Chiefs yesterday. Next week, the Seahawks will try to get Denver started on another losing streak. The Raiders travel to Minnesota, and the Chiefs go to San Diego. So after Week 15, the AFC West looks like this. The Raiders at 10-4, Kansas City now 9-5, and the Seahawks at 7-7, and Denver coming up this Sunday. Should be quite a game. We'll be back. We'll talk more with Dave Craig and Tommy Kane right after this.
Can you tell me the names of the reindeer? Because I can never remember.
Dasher, Dancer, Donner. I only know Rudolph.
Do you know any of the reindeer? Any of Santa's reindeer?
I know Rudolph. Rudolph.
He's got the red nose.
Rudolph. I don't know the other ones.
He has a nose that shines.
Dasher and Dancer, Comet and Cupid.
Now, does Rudolph count as a reindeer?
Vixen. Blitzen. Rudolph!
Merry Christmas from all of us at Como News 4.
All the seasons best from Como TV4.
The nice thing about a Ford Taurus is that it looks great, no matter how you look at it. And the price? Well, the Taurus looks like $1 million, but it goes for a whole lot less. See it at your local Northwest Ford dealer.
My name's Derek Tyler, and I'm from the Cayman Islands, and I don't think I'm perhaps the only Seattle Seahawks supporter in the West Indies, but I'm about the biggest one. And it's just one thing I would like to ask. Do you have any say in the plays when things are getting really tight? For example, there you are, well, there we were, up, leading, few minutes to go. All we needed was to keep moving, get some valuable yardage, and I thought we shut up shop a little bit. I'm thinking of the Vikings game, and I'm thinking of Denver. A few more yards would have made all the difference. They might have won both games. But do you have any say? Do you have to do what comes in from the side, or can you say to yourself, come on lads, let's get five or 6 yards, make it easier for Norm Johnson, or whatever? How does it work?
That's a good question, because a lot of times when you get a lead, you tend to sit on the ball. That happened against us in the Packers game, the Vikings game like he's talking about, and you get more conservative, and then you force yourself into, well, you only throw out of the shotgun formation, and that can be bad because it turns around and gets in your face. So he's got a good point there. But in this particular game here, we had to play catch-up football. We started to throw. We were very effective at doing that, but we just came up a little bit short.
Great Seahawk fan. Come on, lads.
Yeah.
The West Indies. Yeah, that's right. Let's go to the phones again right now. You're on live. Hi.
Hello, Bruce.
Yes.
My name is Tim. I'm phoning from Des Moines. Congratulations, Tommy, on a fantastic effort. I really want to express the feelings that the fans in Seattle have for that. Also, I noticed that inside the 20, the Seahawks lately have had a kind of a difficult time putting the ball in the end zone. Is there any special routes or breakoffs that the receivers have in that situation where you got to get open now, get open?
Well, we just run routes to get open, and Dave finds a great job of finding an open man. It's kind of rough when you get down near the 20. It's hard to get in the end zone, and we had a rough time on Sunday. Hopefully we can improve that and get in the end zone this Sunday.
Okay, thank you very much for calling. Let's go back to the phone. Hello, you're on live.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I have a question for Tommy King. With all the publicity that Brian Blades gets, does he not mind, like, being the underachiever, I guess you could say?
Can you reiterate that for me?
Well, Brian Blades, like, he went to the Pro Bowl last year, and not many people know about you, and then you had the big game on Sunday, and so he gets all the publicity, and I just wanted to know if you didn't mind getting all of that publicity.
I don't mind at all for him to get all the publicity. That means they'll double team him and leave me single covered. Then I can catch a lot of balls.
As simple as that, isn't it? Just how difficult is it for you to go over the middle? We always talk about the guy who runs the crossing pattern, and if you're a receiver, you know that there's somebody waiting there.
Well, it's not difficult to run over the middle as long as you know the ball's coming to you. You might as well catch it because they're going to light you up anyway. So you might as well,
So you just concentrate on the ball?
This was, bring Steve Largent back into the picture. That's one thing he always tells you: keep your eye on the ball, disregard all extraneous stimuli. That means you won't hear any steps, you won't hear anything else. You're concentrating on the football.
Boy, it's tough though not to hear those steps, isn't it?
Oh, you get paid to catch the ball, you might as well catch it.
Okay, good. Let's go back to the phone again. You're on live. Hello.
Hello, this is Dave Clark from Bremerton.
Yes.
I just want to say, good game, Tommy. You looked really good coming back from your knee surgery. It looks like it's having a great game, and you guys played a great game. We just had a few things up and down, but I just really wanted to congratulate you for having a super game from coming back.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, there's a fan of yours out there right now. No question about that. We'll be back, and we'll have more right after this.
Who's going to give you a full meal deal? Dairy Queen. Juiceable hamburger and hot crisp fries with a glacier cold soft drink. And a deliciously fresh I Love This Taste sundae. Who's going to deck your halls with a collectible holiday glass? All at one great price, just $3.49. The Dairy Queen Holiday Full Meal Deal. We treat you right. Dairy Queen.
Hi, I'm Dana Middleton.
And I'm Cindy Reinhardt.
Cindy, there are a lot of new movies out this time of year.
You betcha.
Yep. Well, before you buy your ticket, you'd better hear what the real sisters have to say. They're two Northwest housewives turned movie critics, and they'll review this season's best and worst at the box office.
I'll be interested in that, and I will review which soap star you'd like to spend Christmas with. Join me and share your holiday soap fantasy.
Northwest Afternoon, tomorrow at 3 on Como TV4.
Welcome back to Monday night. Now, what are your feelings about Denver? You play them so early this year. We'll start with you, Tommy Kane, about Denver. You know, it's hard to remember, I guess, what that football team was like.
Well, we picked up a loss earlier in the year, and they're coming into our home. We're going to be well prepared. I know they're going to be prepared. And we just say, may the best team win. Hopefully it'll be the Seahawks.
Dave, what are your feelings?
Well, like Tommy said, it's been a while since we played the Broncos, and there's always been a rivalry there. And the stakes are pretty high for us, and we're definitely going to be ready for this football game.
You know, we were talking a moment ago about people maybe being injured in their defensive secondary. Do you pick on someone, like maybe you get a player out of position, maybe a corner is playing safety, a safety comes up and plays corner. Do you know you pick that up right away and you'll pick on him?
Sure, you can do that on occasion. If a guy comes in there and he's cold, he hasn't been loosening up, he hasn't been in a game, you try to take advantage of that situation.
Okay, let's go to the phones one more time. You're on live with Dave Craig and Tommy Kane. Hello.
Yeah, Tommy, I wanted to ask, what kind of gloves do most receivers use to catch the ball? Because I noticed in one of the plays, David Craig throws it kind of low, and you caught it.
Well, everybody uses different gloves. I use Newman's. You know, some receivers don't like to use any gloves, like Paul Scansey. But I like to use gloves, and I use Newman's.
Yeah. Do you use those gloves starting in college? Was that it?
Yeah. Well, so when you start using them, you feel naked without them. So you get kind of addicted to them.
Okay, we have one more fan question coming up right now. Let's go to it. Hello.
Well, Dave, I tend to wonder, now that the season's over, or as your career gets older, will you tend to write a book in the future anytime?
You answer that. I don't know.
I don't have any thoughts about writing a book or anything like that, unless, of course, we go to the Super Bowl this year, then I'll think about writing a book.
Yeah, maybe you can borrow his dark glasses or something like that. Okay, Tommy Kane, thanks a million for coming by. Good luck this weekend against Denver.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Dave, thank you. Now, we're not going to be on next week because it's going to be Christmas Eve. We'll be back the week after that. So to all of you, to the two of you, and to all of you out there, a Merry Christmas from all of us. We'll see you in a couple of weeks on Monday night.
Bruce King's Monday Night with Seattle Seahawks quarterback Dave Craig has been brought to you by your local Northwest Ford dealers and by Sea First Bank.